The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Discretion is advised.
Okay, here we are. The night after our big live show, which was a blast, was it not? Oh, Darren has no mic today, but thank you everybody for tuning into that. That was a blast just for our Patreon people, and we did like a 2.5 hour show.
It was really fun, but then when I came back, I ordered...
Speaking of the mic, goddammit.
I ordered some Indian food, and I ordered it mild.
You did?
Yeah, and it was so spicy because I with the Reaper thing.
Yeah.
I was in pain.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I couldn't sleep last night. I had heartburn.
I was up until 4:30 in the morning because I had that burning knot from the Reaper peanut. And then after we left, Darren and I went to my friend's house, and I had a quesadilla, and I dipped it in habanero salsa and ate that. And I was miserable. Spent half the night in bed, half the night in the bathroom. Great time. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to do more live shows soon because it really was a lot of fun. The feedback's been good. And I want to welcome a new patron today. Thank you, Frank Venisi, for joining the party. Woo-hoo. Yay. And I am very excited today. I say that about every guest, of course, but today I definitely mean it. We have an author, an actor, director, producer in here who you may not know by name, but if you're a horror fan the way I am, you know this person. And I feel like I grew up with him in a way. So I want to welcome Billy Butler, who wrote this book, Tawdry Tales and Confessions of Horror's Boy Next Door.
Nice plug. Nice plug.
Thank you very much.
That's a good name, too.
Great name.
Yeah.
You don't see a whole lot of Tawdrys in the names of things, so nice work with that.
Believe me, they didn't want that.
They
fought me. No, they were like, well, those are mostly porn books that start out with Tawdry. I'm like, have you read the manuscript?
That's a bit of what you touch on a bit.
Like half of LA. I mean, what is this?
Oh my God, I can't. Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We're going to have a good talk. Thank you so much for coming. No, don't apologize. Don't ever apologize for being you, sir.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course.
It's mostly, it's pretty tawdry. It's not just,
Of course.
It's a good read.
Yeah. So how did the book come about? And I want to know, when did you first consider doing it? And how long did you wait until you made the choice to make the book? How long did it take to get started?
Well, for the people that are watching that don't know me, I moved here about 35 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was 17 years old. I was one of those weirdos that managed to somehow book an acting job like right away, and I just never stopped. And one thing led to another, and I was suddenly in every single major like horror franchise. I was in a Friday the 13th. I was in a Chainsaw Massacre. I was on the Nightmare on Elm Street TV series. What? I was in the remake of George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. I was in the Ghoulies, for God's sakes. Yeah, I was in everything. And so I kind of got this thing that I was that guy that's, the boy next door in like tons of like horror films. And the older I got, I started losing interest in performing and certainly getting killed. So I started moving on to like writing, and I wrote for National Lampoon magazine. I was under contract with the Power Rangers. I started directing Power Rangers and writing for Fox. And so throughout the years, my focus was more so on writing and directing. And then my need to like want to be a blabbermouth and do stuff as an actor came back, and I started doing stage work. Mm-hmm. So, I was doing these monologue shows that they do in LA. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Sit and Spin, or they have these shows where they'll just give you a theme and you tell a story.
Like improv storytelling kind of thing?
Basically, but most true stories, but you're just they're talking.
It's kind of like The Moth almost, but you have that theme. And
yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, literally one of them would be like, okay, tonight we're telling stories about shitting our pants. And then like every comedian in the room would raise their hand and go, I got a good one, and then you're laughing until you cry because they're all true stories. And mine was a doozy. And on that particular night, some people from Alamo Drafthouse were in the audience. And so Alamo Drafthouse not only does sort of film stuff. They have these sort of movie
they do cool
theaters.
stuff.
They show, but they also they had a book company. I don't know if they have it anymore, called Mondo. And so after I did one of these shows, I got contacted by one of these strangers through Facebook who was like, your story was really funny. And by the way, I was reading from my diary. And I started kind of getting known from these shows for reading from my diary. And so they're like, have you ever thought about putting these stories into a book? I was like, who in the fuck is going to buy a book from some horror has-been, And they're like, well, actually, we've already done the math, and we know that we can sell like 25,000 books, and that makes it worth it for us, because I guess they had an outlet deal. So I called my parents. I was like, these crazy motherfuckers think that I'm going to write a book and that people are going to read it. My mom's like, will they give you an advance? I was like, yes. She's like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. And you basically you kept a diary, so you had all the stories there.
I have about 100 diaries from the time I was 17. I mean, as you'll see in the book, if you're available on Amazon.com.
Tawdry Tales and Confessions from Hollywood's Boy Next Door. Horror's Boy Next Door. Excuse me.
But I mean, I was here for like 2 weeks and ended up living in my car at 17. Like going from having nothing to becoming
the story of Brad Pitt.
I mean, and look, and we're exactly the same. It's like I'm looking in a mirror.
It's uncanny, really.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
From what I hear, we both slept our way into the business anyway. So,
zing.
Allegedly.
No, that's I'm completely made that up. But I will say, I used to see him at auditions all the time.
That must have been a bummer.
Very young. I would just be like, oh, fuck this guy. He can't. There's no way he can act. You can't be that beautiful. And then he would book it every single time. And here I am, the horror's boy next door. So if there's anything to be learned from this appearance today, it's just don't take anything I say. Yeah, serious.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they said you wanted to write this book. So then COVID hit, and I was like, I had nothing to do. And so I just wrote the book. I kind of read through my diaries, and I wrote this book. And then as I was writing it, I started really loving doing it. It was really fun. And as I started to finish the book, I started noticing that the how do you say when they're emailing you? Correspondence between me and Alamo Drafthouse was getting less and less. And I was like, I've been in show business long enough to know that when your EP, your executive producer stops emailing you, that there's a problem.
Not a good sign.
Right. So I wrote them and was like, how's everything going? And then I get this, you open the email and it's like this much writing. You're like, okay, my deal's falling apart. They basically said, well, so far everything's good, but we just want to let you know there is whisperings that Alamo Drafthouse is about to file bankruptcy and they're going to close, and that means that the book company would close. But I didn't really give a shit because, listen, I may not be known to your audience, but I'm known by a lot of horror fans. So I thought, what the hell? At the very least, I'll print it, and when they have these conventions where they all wheel us in and we sign pictures. And I thought, I have a book. So, who cares? I really didn't care. And I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Yep.
I wasn't
100%.
afraid. I wasn't afraid at all. I was like, fuck it, I'm writing a book, man. And it doesn't cost me anything. And I'm at home eating pot stickers, as we talked about.
Yep.
And so, during COVID, we did nothing but eat Grubhub. But, and be like Grubhub, and then are we going to be dead in 2 months?
Better eat this Grubhub.
Yeah. Oh, look, Tiger King's on.
Where are all his teeth?
Yeah, what's going on? He's married to 2 men. Hi, can you bring over more pot stickers? So anyway,
the best time.
I was like that blueberry girl on Willy Wonka. I was just getting fatter and fatter. So anyway, I finished the book, and I swear to you, out of nowhere, a guy emailed me and was like, because I'm a whore. If you ever see on any of my social, I'm constantly, when I'm doing something, it's either on my Instagram or whatever. That's really just me fishing, hoping to get other work. I'm not bragging by any means. The creator of Baby Oopsie doesn't need to be bragging, but I want to let people, I want to let people know, that I'm working.
No one else is going to do it for you. You may as well do it yourself.
No, certainly not. No one cares.
Yeah.
So anyway.
We know here. We know how it works.
Right. So I keep putting my hand on Tom Brady's head.
Oh, enjoy. He's there for you. Moral support.
Yeah. I should squeeze it like the ball and throw it. But
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, anyway. So this company emailed me and was like, how's your book coming along? And do you have a publisher yet? And I was like, I literally wrote why are you asking me that? And they're like, we're just wondering, like, we're fans of yours, and we do horror. Guy, they did Kane Hodder's book. They did Tom Savini's book. He's the makeup artist.
I love Tom
Of course.
Yeah.
Legend.
And so we're looking for more books, and I was like, hold on a second. Put it on hold. Call Animal Draft Off. Do you really want to get out of my deal? Are you pussyfooting around that? Yes, we'd like to. Okay, I'm out of my deal.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you. Bye. Click. Hello? Yes, I'm actually looking for a publisher.
Yes, I'm in the book business.
Signed a deal. I got another fucking advance. And
Wait, that's what I was gonna ask. So,
Yeah.
so you got the advance the first time, and
Yeah.
so you got to just keep
it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
Good
know.
deal.
What do you care, right?
amazing.
What did I care? It would have been probably, this has had a slow and steady climb because it's a smaller company. And that one would have been bigger,
Right.
But, the truth of the matter is you really only make like $1 or $2 a book as
Right.
as an author. So,
That's better than musicians, you know?
I made 20 grand for laying on the couch. Like, that's perfectly fine.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
Good for you.
yeah, it's not Harry Potter. I don't have Harry Potter money, but it
But
was
the,
something to do.
the feedback has been good, and it was number one.
Yes, it went to number one. It was
Congratulations.
number one on Amazon, and people really do like it. I feel really good about that because I thought if I was going to have the audacity to write a book about myself, that the least I could do is just be so raw and ugly truth.
Right.
And it's just filled with everything that you're cringing that I actually am confessing some parts of it, my drug use, my becoming a multimillionaire, my losing the multi-millions and going back down to zero. I mean, it's an interesting story of
So we were
what
talking.
not to do in show business. No.
We were talking before the show, and everyone in this room has a mutual love of Howard Stern.
Yes.
And that is why we love Howard and that whole cast is because it's the honesty, it's the openness. No one holds back. You talk about shitting yourself. You talk about people doing crazy shit, and when you let people into your life, they love it, and that's what you did with the book.
And I have to tell you,
it wasn't just a Hollywood glamour.
No, and
book.
I think originally Alamo Drafthouse, that's what they wanted. They wanted to hear about the zombies and the blah blah blah, and I
Which is in there.
There's tons of it, yeah. But
They're naked.
no, none of those were naked. But no, but just I mean, you guys know, you live here. It's like 2 years. You're loaded and you're making money and you're so happy. And then 2 years, you don't work at all. It's like, it's just the weirdest business. It's not like being a plumber where you get a job and you're like, I'm good at it. I'm great at it. And look at
People
me.
are always going to need me.
And people always need me. And now, oh my God, I'm retired. Right. No, in show business, it's like, you did a hit movie. Everyone loves you.
You are shit. You're garbage.
Your hair's falling out. Guess what? Nobody wants. Oh, you got a wig. All right, you're back in show business. Oh, now you're getting kind of fat. No show career over. Oh, well, wait a minute, he's skinny again. And then
Can you direct? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
You're over 30. Gross.
it's so gross. Like I highly recommend that you watch that Brittany Murphy documentary.
I almost did the other night.
It's just
Is it good?
Yes, it's just such a reflection of
Our friend
awful.
Lisa Raffel, who's been on the show a bunch of times, is in
Yeah.
it talking about Brittany. And
Oh,
it's,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was
they
very
friends?
close to Brittany.
Wow.
I'm going to watch that tonight,
But
actually.
it just goes to show you all the shit that they tell you. Even me, when I was in all these, I was a guy, and I would weigh 180 pounds and book the lead in a movie. And then they would go, can you shave off like 15 pounds before we film? I'm like, I'm already starving. Like, it's just, and
So that's real. That's real shit.
Yes, positively. And for women, it's even worse,
Yep.
It's crazy. Like she was already thin, and they're like, "Well, you got to be like Gwyneth Paltrow skinny if you want to be a movie star." And then she's like, "All right, I guess food is out of the question." But I mean, that's part of it,
And you've seen that your whole life.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and also by the time that I had been acting for about 16 years, number one, I was sick and tired of starving myself, which I was absolutely doing. Mm-hmm. And number two, I didn't know how to become a character actor at the time. I just knew how to be like the vanilla cracker boy next door. I didn't know how to get fat and grow weird sideburns and be like, hey, I'm the funny guy now. I didn't know how to do it. So lucky for me, I can write and direct, or I would,
So when you were
mowing the lawn.
when you first got into the business, were you doing special effects? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, so what happened was I grew up with this guy, John Vulich, in Northern California, Central California. And we loved horror films. We watched VHS tapes like every single day.
What was the horror movie that got you into loving horror?
Friday the 13th, Evil Dead.
The best.
Like the craziest weird ones. Anything by George Romero.
Yeah.
Weird movies like Blue Sunshine. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I haven't seen that
movie.
one, no.
Scared the shit out of me. Based on a true story about, oh my God, there's another head on the floor. Over
Of
there.
course. You got Michael
But
Myers. We
anyway,
got a whole Halloween
sorry.
shit in here.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, that's really scary. And so that's when we were like 15, 16 years old. And then John, who was so talented as a sculptor from a very young age, actually mailed some Polaroids to Savini. And Savini hired him. And he went to go work on Day of the Dead. Come on.
Wow.
And I was just at home thinking like, wow. And John's like, come on, come to LA. It's like, and you have to understand in like 1983, 84, there was a movie filming on every street corner here. You never were without work. That you could be a PA. You could never, it was constant. So I didn't, I didn't really know how to get into acting. I didn't know any actors. And John's like, go to John Buechler's shop, this guy who did Jason of Starkman, and he was doing Reanimator at the time. He's like, come there, sweep the floors, work 3 times harder than he expects you to, and I swear to you, he's going to like you, and you're going to end up working there. Well, that's exactly what happened. And after about my 3rd week, he gave me a paycheck.
And where was that?
This is over in on Sherman Way in Laurel Canyon, right down the street, actually.
Yep.
Wow.
And John Buechler was the only person in Los Angeles that I met at that age who asked me, he asked me into his office and he's like, but what do you want to do? What do you want to end up doing? And I was like, I want to be an actor. And he's like, well, then we have to make that happen for you. He's literally the only person in LA that ever said that to me that didn't want to fuck me or murder me. You know what I mean? Like,
Or
he
both.
genuinely meant it, like, oh, I'll help you with your career. Like usually, we all kind of go like, uh-oh, what's happening? Where do I stand? What do I bend over now? But like back then, he did it, and he did do it.
He was that kind from the jump.
Yes, he introduced me to Charles Band, and he was like, this guy's really good. They slowly but surely realized I'm a good painter, and so they kind of taught me the certain kind of paints that they use because it's a rubber paint,
Right.
And I started painting. I painted the Ghoulies. I painted the Garbage Pail Kid heads.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
I watched that movie 6 months ago
Yeah.
for the first time in years.
Yeah, I almost ruined Garbage Pail Kids. Because
it wasn't great.
No,
as is,
I made
but-
it worse. So I was just learning how to paint, and so they realized that I had a good eye for layering color, and so they said, here's the paints, and here's the Garbage Pail Kids' heads. There were like 8 of them, I want to say. So I painted them. And then we went to set, and they looked really good. And it's like foam latex that they use for the skins of this stuff. And they put the little people in the suits, and then they were all radio control heads. Some of them were just cable pulled. And they went like this and pulled the cable to make their mouths open, and they open their mouth, and it goes,
Oh, no.
and it ripped on both sides, all the heads. And then everyone stayed calm, and they were like, why the fuck is it doing that? So John Criswell, who's now the head mechanic for the Muppets, came over to me. He's the one who did the mechanics with the garbage. So he's like, "Hey, how much of the rubber adhesive glue did you mix in with the paint when you were painting the heads?" And I went, and in my mind I was thinking, "What's that?" Oh, but what I said to him was the average amount.
Hey, very smooth.
And then I went back to the shop, and I told my friend Mike Deek, who worked in the shop, like, I didn't put any of this prosthetic adhesive in there. So I just painted the heads with acrylic paint.
Which cracks when you move it.
Which cracks, it dries out, yeah. So they had to put cotton and latex. So if you watch the movie, if you look close, they have these little, like, Joker scars in the corners of that's because of me, because I fucked up.
Oh, they didn't hire Industrial Light and Magic to go in and touch it
No,
up?
there wasn't even cell phones at that point, There was no computers, no nothing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I must did that.
And how did you get the jump from doing effects into... Was acting your next thing?
Yeah. So what happened was we started doing more and more projects, and I kept telling John, like, thank you for this, but I really do want to start acting. He's like, all right, I'm working on it. So one day he just goes, go to Charlie Band's office in Hollywood. He's the owner of, at the time, Empire Pictures. Again, they did Reanimator. They've done so many films. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, he's like the owner of the company. He's like, no, he's nice. Just go there. Bring your picture and your resume. Okay. So I go in there and Charlie's at his desk. I'm just like, just so young, I can't tell you. He's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm William Butler, Billy Butler.
What are you, early 20s at this point?
Yeah, no, early
Late
than 20.
teen?
Yeah,
Okay.
like about barely 20.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, oh yeah, you're the kid that Buechler says wants to be an actor. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you look like an actor to me. He goes, go down to casting. So I go down to Anthony Barneo. It was across the street. The building was on La Brea and like Hollywood Boulevard. I think it's a gym now. Actually, I think it's since then even closed down after that. But
Okay.
I went down. Anthony Barneo gave me some sheets of paper. He goes, here, read this. And I read it. And he went, okay, cool. I'll give you a part in Ghoulies too. And I was like, seriously?
Come to Hollywood, folks. It's that easy.
Wait.
See, I thought that because I just was like, oh. And I was like, but wait, Ghoulies 2 that films in Italy? He's like, yeah, you can go to it. You can travel out of the country, right? I was like, almost like fainted in my chair. I go,
Had you been anywhere at that point in your life as far as traveling?
I'd been to Spain for Charles, working on a film called Eliminators, which is with Denise Crosby and Patrick Reynolds and a bunch of people. It was a Terminator ripoff.
Perfect.
And I had behaved myself on set there. I was the official paint retoucher on the robot suit, which was the Eliminator, which was this fake Terminator guy. So anyway, they knew I could behave overseas. And then next thing I knew was flying to Rome, and I got my SAG card, and I was in this fun movie, and it was supposed to shoot for a month. We were there for 3 months. And basically, I ended up, for the next 5 years, I ended up pretty much living in Rome, doing acting and doing special effects.
No shit.
I worked on From Beyond. I worked on RoboJocks. I worked on The Caller. I worked on, oh my God, so many.
And those were all acting gigs.
Troll.
You were in
Dolls.
Troll. Yep.
Yeah.
With
I love
with
Dolls too
Jennifer
as a kid.
Which one was Jennifer Aniston?
That was Troll.
No, she's in Leprechaun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. I have just really quick before I forget because I'll forget because I'm old right now. I can see all of this as a movie.
I know
Let's
everyone
do a
says
movie.
that. That's what
Back
everyone
in the
says.
80s, and like I can see you, like you know what I mean?
Everyone says that, but I don't really know that.
Yes. Okay, I'm buying the rights.
If
to
you're
your
from
book.
HBO,
It is kind of
No,
like
but
a.
that's what I do. That's
Yeah.
what I'm. That's it.
We're
And
not.
also-
We're not even close to
We'll
done.
talk.
Like it's a Forrest Gumpian
But I'm telling
it's a
you.
very
trajectory in a way.
Very close.
I'm telling you
Forrest
right
Gump.
now, I'm going to do
Okay, good.
your movie.
Okay, good.
Go on.
Very
Okay,
good.
go on.
So anyway, basically, I was there for 5 years, and then, through trial and error, I became a better and better actor. And by the time I came back home, I had my SAG card, and I worked on one last movie called Prison that we filmed in
With Kane, right?
Hodder, and that's where I met Kane Hodder, and that's where I met Viggo Mortensen, who's still my friend to this day.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's hold on for a second.
Yes.
You feel free to touch yourself, Heidi. It's fine. It's fine. We do
You
that
don't
around
understand.
I'm talking young Viggo Mortensen too.
You
Peak.
don't understand.
Oh,
'Cause
believe
he was
me,
married to
Exene Cervenka.
Okay, who
Yeah.
was my favorite, and I was
Yeah.
in a metal band for years.
No way. Which
Yes.
one?
The Electric Hellfire Club.
Well, I actually think I know that.
You
Maybe
probably
we did
do.
run into,
Industrial
because I
band.
used to
Yeah.
sell their T-shirts. I used to sell X's T-shirts.
So we probably
Yeah,
because
maybe that's how you know
we
me.
we toured with like Guar and stuff, and Guar was
Oh,
very like
I
okay.
love Guar.
Yeah. So
You know who I'm working with now in
Cool.
Cleveland? They wear masks too.
Slipknot? No.
No, in Cleveland, they're like a big Ohio band.
Oh, is it Dope or Ventana or one of
no,
those?
you
no,
know.
it's my
Skinny is the guy's name, I
my
think.
ex is Marco Shea, and Marco, I'm sure
Why
that you
can't
know.
I think of the name of it? It's
It's
like
called-
something very, very well known.
Yeah. Look
Anyway,
it up.
they're
Anyhow, go
incredible. They like loan me. They're like the nicest people on the planet. They come and loan us equipment, and they come hang out, and
Okay,
and
we-
yet I can't remember any of their names or their band name.
You're on the spot. It's fine.
Just goes to show.
It's fine.
It's like skullduggery, or it's
'cause I
something
feel,
like
yeah, it's
scullery or something.
I feel bad for him because I feel like there's such a great band.
Yeah.
But they've got all those other ones before that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they've been around for a long time.
Yes,
Yeah.
really long time,
really
and
long
they're
time.
really good.
Yes.
so good that I can't remember the
Yeah.
name, but I will.
Okay, so Vigo, you're
Okay,
still
so Vigo,
friends
so
with
Vigo and I became friends. I ended up moving in with them. Okay, so listen to the
him
lineup.
and
Yeah, we split a house. They
I can't take this.
Yeah,
This is so
they
bad.
had part of the house, like literally, like it was cut in half, and I had the other
here in LA.
In Koreatown.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which was at the time we thought it was Hancock Park, but later on it was pointed out.
That's close
we
enough.
lived in Koreatown.
Yeah.
It was fancier to say that we lived.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
It's
where.
Hancock
He didn't care.
Park.
I
Hancock
actually
Park
live in
adjacent.
Hancock Park.
Oh, you
but
do?
But it's.
Where? What street?
Don't tell. She is
I'll tell
she
you
is a
later.
weird people.
Oh, you
in
do?
her life.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll tell you later. But
Okay.
it's. But yeah.
I lived on Van Ness.
I did too.
Van
with
Ness
my
and
aunt
Third.
uncle. I did too.
With the church? By the church?
248 South. That's what that was. I don't live there anymore. Everybody.
The
But-
church. You know where the church is?
Yeah, but I lived at my aunt and uncle's in the back house in between 3rd and 2nd
Yeah.
on Van Ness.
Heidi, talking to the mic.
On Van Ness.
Now that is a good, safe neighborhood. It was anyway when we lived there.
Is that where it was?
We lived right there.
Were you south of the church or north of the church?
I was south of the church.
Wow, we lived
Yeah.
on the same street.
Yeah. And you know who lived right next door to us? Was Michael Dudikoff. Do you know who that is? He
That
was
name
the
sounds very
American
familiar to
Ninja.
me.
He was the American Ninja.
Oh my god.
So it was
Wow.
all these like struggling actors with brown hair on that street. It was like me, Vigo, Michael Dudikoff, and we were all.
Wait, is this all in the book?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So they like
Billy,
so
this is insane.
yeah. So I lived with him for about 4 years. So my lineup of roommates is pretty
Wow.
good. I went from Viggo Mortensen to a guy named Brad Sherwood who does Whose Line Is It Anyway? He's an improviser.
yeah.
We were roommates.
Wait, the tall blonde?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I tortured him.
Yeah.
I was in the. I may or may not have been in the throes of a slight drug problem at the time.
Hey,
Not
party
the,
on.
Allegedly.
Not the best roommate. You know, I'd go like 4 days without eating, and then when he'd leave the house, I'd eat everything of hit. Like I literally drank pickles out of the jar.
Roommates love that stuff.
Yeah. It's great to have a tweaker as a roommate. But anyway. So then from Brad Sherwood, to make matters worse, I became roommates with Leslie Jordan.
Who's my favorite?
Yes.
I saw him at the dog park like 2 years ago, and I was the creepy, I was like, hi, I love
he
your
loves it.
work.
I'm sure he loved
He
it.
was really sweet,
Yeah,
but
he's
I
really
felt
nice.
really creepy.
What made you a fan of Leslie Jordan, Heidi?
Me?
Yep. What got you in?
Well, Will and Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And he just reminds me, he actually reminds me of an old teacher I had in Texas. And he just is,
Yeah.
he's freaking hilarious.
I'm looking up Cleveland Horror Band because it's making my.
He's one of the funniest people. I mean, I hope
Yeah.
he's like that in real life too, right? Like, is he,
He
or is
is.
he more like,
No, he's very,
quiet?
very nice. We're like family. Like we're very, very close.
and during
However,
the quarantine, during
he got
COVID,
super famous.
because it was hilarious. Did you ever see him during?
No.
Oh my god.
He got like
it was so good.
5. Now it's up to 6 million followers on Instagram.
It was amazing. He
Just bitching like,
because
hi y'all.
because he was living in the same town or down the street from his mom, right? So he'd go
Yes.
to his mom's house and he'd check on his. Oh my god, you just got it. Please go back and look at him. I just am in love with him. If he was,
Well, now the problem
If
is
he would
now
love
is
me
that he was
back.
already famous because he was on Will and Grace and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But now it's like, hey, do you want to go have? He's in bed by like 7:30 every night, so he eats dinner at like 4 in the afternoon.
oh, I love it.
He doesn't do, he's been sober forever. I didn't quite make that Passover, but I did manage to move away from like any other street drug I could get my hands on.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, him and I, as you will read in there, there was no off switch for either one of us. It's funny. Speaking of drugs, I have a lot of friends. I'm from a very conservative town, so I have a lot of friends that are they don't want the vaccine and all this stuff. And to me, I don't care if you don't want it. It doesn't
Same.
yeah, I'm like, if you don't want
Same.
it, it don't matter to me. I'm gonna get it.
on you,
So,
yeah.
Fat and old, I'm getting it. But my friend's like, but why, man? Why do you want to put something that you don't know what it is in your body? And then I go, well, I'll tell you something. I used to drive behind Cantor's Deli at like 4 a.m. and buy Mexican tar heroin from a homeless guy. I don't think the vaccine is going to fuck my shit up.
Yeah. Good, very valid
you know,
point.
I told my
It's a valid
sister
point.
I used to do cocaine on the back of a toilet at a bar.
Exactly.
I'm good.
Right.
It's okay.
And I've also done worse things.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to say
Me
what. I'm
too.
not even talking about drugs.
That's
My mouth has been in a lot of places.
You've
on
had
this
worse
universe.
things in your
Yeah.
body. Worse things in your body
I
than
think that
drugs.
My immune system is just fine. So anyway, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Freaking out the engineer. But
No, he loves it.
No,
Sorry, Darren.
I can hear him getting hard over there. I can hear it from here.
Yeah, not a pretty sight. Yeah. But anyway, so where did I go? Oh, so Leslie and I, we sort of reinvented misbehaving in the worst way. But my point about Leslie is that he's so famous now that I'm like, hey, do you want to go have dinner? And he's like, I can't. I'm having dinner with Michelle Pfeiffer tonight. I'm like, oh, you bitch. I drug you out of a gutter one time and helped you wipe your shitty ass.
Forgot where he came from.
Well,
What a shame.
Katie Couric's coming over for breakfast tomorrow. I'm like, bitch, we used to shoot dope together. What the fuck is going on here?
Sorry, Heidi, you're not making a new friend. It doesn't sound like.
What? No.
Him, Jim, or I mean, Jordan.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll love him.
No, I'm not I'm not famous enough. It's okay.
No, he'll,
But I
no.
love him.
No. Yeah.
So you talked about Vigo for a second.
Yeah.
Are you the kind of person where you root for your friends to succeed, or is it hard watching them become like absolute? I mean, he's a superstar.
I have to say, I think
Or does
I'm
it go back and
such
forth?
a narcissist that it never occurs to me. Doesn't it? Like, oh, cool, that's cool. Whatever. What about me?
Working on your
What
own
can I
stuff.
do? Yeah, I got bills to pay.
Yep.
Like, I never think about anyone else long enough to be jealous or anything. I'm just,
'Cause I grew up playing. I've been here for 22 years, playing with bands and working for rock bands, and I see it so often that people are in a band that has a little bit of buzz. Their friends are in a band that has buzz. The other band goes on to do great stuff. And the other guys just are so bummed about it. That should have been us, rather than be happy for their friends.
you can't be that way. You'll end up
It holds you back.
You'll end up hanging yourself, especially if you live here for any period of time, because it happens over and over again. And the
All the
truth,
time.
and the truth of the matter is this: in regards to my friends that have become very famous, they do have a very different life than when you're laying in Hancock Park sharing a can of chili because that's all you can afford. They have a very different life, and it's like. The subjects of conversation are different.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm cool, but I can definitely tell you that it has made a difference in some of those relations. I'm not just talking about those two, just in general.
Right.
It's
like when friends have kids and all of a sudden I've lost
One-
my friends.
Oh yeah, good Paul.
We're still friends,
100%.
But I call and say, hey, you want to go do something?
I
And
can't.
I've
What
been
about- no.
years since I've seen my friends who have kids. Like,
What about this? When they send you with the email inviting you to their kid's birthday party, I'm
what
like,
am I
fuck
gonna do?
that! I'm not fucking going. Like
I
my
always
friend,
go because I feel bad.
I'd rather get COVID.
No, I went one time. They don't want someone like. I'm like, where's the booze? What's going on? Who's holding? No, I'm kidding.
Sort of kidding.
At a vape. No, I don't do any drugs anymore. I would
I'm
explode.
sorry.
You're what? Oh yeah.
I would drop dead. But
Thank you.
no, yeah, that just happened just recently. One of my really good friends, who's a total jackal, I love her, but she had a kid, and she's like, "Yeah, we're having a party for my kid." I'm like, "Nope."
I will not.
I
be
went
there.
to the other one, and it was like a fucking Bob the Builder party, and I'm like, I'm just standing there, like, okay, where's
Two things I don't want to go to is
that awful?
kids' birthday
Probably,
parties
right?
and weddings. Those are the two things I don't want to go to.
Yeah, straight boys really hate going to weddings.
Yeah, why is
especially
that?
When, especially when a girl invites you to a wedding, because it's all like, see how good it can be.
I've never been a part of that, but yeah, weddings are tough. I mean, well, I've had been to a
Plus,
couple.
I also look like a Chaz Bono. I look like a lesbian in a suit. I look like Chaz Bono in a suit, and so I'm like choking and like. I look like a lesbian umpire.
Brutal.
Yeah, with the coat on.
I'm a baseball fan, so I like that reference.
You
Thank
know what
you for
I'm
that.
saying.
Thank you for that.
Oh no.
I do, and so I hate putting on a suit because I look like I'm transsexual. Something's going on there. Like I know I'm a lady face. I accept
Tuxedo
it.
is for a certain body type.
Right.
It really is.
It's not for a
I don't have it either.
Zoptic, like 55-year-old. It's just not.
I want to go. I was supposed to go this weekend to a wedding. That's why. And my boyfriend's in New York. He's filming, but I want to go. But I don't have a lot of friends.
You're going to a wedding?
No, I was. I couldn't wait. I wanted to dance. I
Well,
wanted
go
to
by yourself. What's wrong
No,
with
I
that?
didn't. I didn't
No,
go
you
because
didn't
it's my boyfriend's family. But I want to go. But I don't have a lot of friends.
Next time I get invited, you can go for me.
I'm okay with that. I'm that way
Okay.
too.
Yeah, like so I never.
The only time it starts to feel really weird is when you really get so set in your doing your own thing. And I have 3 dogs, and literally like, okay, are we ready to go to bed? And you guys can go outside and go to the bathroom. And then I would just last night. So funny you should bring this up. We were all walking to the bedroom, and I was like, "There's got to be something creepy about this," like here, Norman Bates with his dog friends, But
Prepare yourselves, dogs. We're having a night.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm a chronic interrupter. I have to apologize in advance.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
It's the Red Bull talking.
It's me all the time. But I just went to my dog this afternoon. It's not my dog. It's my boyfriend's dog. And he like went up on my legs. And I'm like, I love it when you do that. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Are you do you baby talk your dogs as well? You do.
I don't baby talk. I do their voices.
They don't have voices.
Awesome.
do
I
they?
love
I
that.
do their
love that.
voices.
I love
Oh
that.
no.
Yeah.
What are their names?
Henry,
Yes.
Eddie Spaghetti, and Yogi.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Yogi was this would be a lesson for everyone listening. So I'm on Facebook. I'm like insanely animal friendly. So I'm sitting on Facebook as I do, and I see one of those things. They kind of have stopped doing it, but there was like this ad where it's like, "This dog will be put to sleep at 4 p.m.
I'll take them.
And I went.
Yes.
So I get on the thing, like, and it's like looked like a cute dog. It was small, and I get on there, I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, please don't put him to sleep. If no one will foster him, I will. There's no need to put him to sleep, but for crying out loud, just let me know and I'll foster him. And I thought, it's L.A. There's millions of people here, right? I go like this, send, and the phone goes ring. I'm like, hello? And they're like, can we bring the dog by? I'm like, oh my God. So like, yeah, of course. I'm like, oh, fuck. So they're like, a few things you need to know. I'm like, what? He's like, he's never been in a house before. He was raised in the streets of downtown LA. He's feral.
No.
He bites.
Oh, Jesus.
He doesn't like other
He
dogs.
doesn't like other dogs. He doesn't like other people.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, I'm officially fostering him. Start looking for somebody to take this dog. Well, odds are he'll be put to sleep. I'm like, get him over here. So they get him over here. That little dog, Yogi, stupid name for a dog, but it was his. He
came with it.
He knew the name, so I kept it. He sat in that crate for like 4 days. No water, no restroom, no eating, no nothing.
Oh, he wouldn't come out.
Nope. And then finally he started coming out. And he's a follower. And so my dog, Eddie, is very sort of wanting to play all the time. Next thing I knew, they were playing him like best friends. I was like, where's the paperwork? I guess I'm filling it out. He still has only let me hold him. He's lived with me for 2 years. He's only let me hold him like 3 or 4 times.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Poor Yogi.
Can you pet him, or you can't pick him up?
He stiffens up and gets really scared. But he looks at me and wags his tail like he knows I'm his dad now. But
You're friends from afar, is what you are.
yes,
Yeah.
And I've taken him to the groomer. I try to bathe him myself. I prefer to go to the groomer, but I have to chase him down for like an hour to like get him to the groomer. Anyway, I'm sure everyone's really interested.
And
in
what kind of dogs are your other
Okay,
dogs?
so Henry is a 14-year-old Pomeranian and a teacup Pomeranian. He's small.
Love those dogs.
He's partially bald because I had an auto groomer come to groom them, and the lady shaved him. And apparently you can't shave Pomeranians, so his whole back is bare. So he wears. I'll show you a picture of him.
He must be humiliated.
He is actually.
Oh, I mean it.
Does it grow back? It grows
No.
back.
No, it never grows back.
Wait, what?
It never grows back. So he's bald.
No.
So guess what?
Henry.
Because he's humiliated.
Scarlet letter, dude.
Because he's humiliated, he wears these.
Oh no.
Look at him.
Right?
Oh my God, Henry.
Text me that picture. I'm gonna put it up for the
Okay.
for the
That's a
replay.
No.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I do his voice. But anyway,
And then what's the other one?
Eddie Spaghetti.
Eddie
He's
Spaghetti.
amazing. So I had this one Gibby named after Gibby Haynes.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Butthole
I
surfers.
love being in a
Yeah.
room where they know
Yeah.
who Gibby Haynes is.
Of course. Come
Welcome
on.
to-
Come on.
A lot of people don't. I mean, it's crazy. And again, during my party days, that was a good run. But I named Gibby, my dog Gibby, after Gibby Haynes. Where's Gibby these days?
I don't
he in
know.
LA still?
I have no
thought he was
idea.
in
Back to the
Texas.
South.
I never knew him.
Yeah, because Renee Zellweger, didn't she date his brother?
something like
and
that,
he
yeah.
died? Remember
Yeah.
that? Okay, fine. Okay. Sorry.
I remember passing out on the floor of.
Go ahead. You can say it.
I may or may not have spent a few days holed up in Johnny Depp's house with Gibby and
I believe it.
Amazing.
crawling around on the floor in there. Anyway,
I spent a little time with Johnny. I think I know what you
you know
mean.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Nice
love
person,
to crawl on the
though.
floor with.
One of the nicest people I've ever met, and I will say this, like, you know, when people talk about when someone walks into a room, they have like an aura.
That's
which
how
I never,
Vigo is.
I always thought was bullshit
That's how Vigo was.
until I walked past 2 people in my life.
Yep.
Bill Clinton, I walked past, and I was
Yeah.
like, that dude has something going
Yep.
on. And Johnny Depp has this
Yep.
like light or something.
Yep, same.
And he is so incredibly kind.
Yeah.
And will remember your name no matter who you are.
Yep.
He knows your name with your a crew
Yeah.
person or a friend of a friend or whatever. I was very impressed.
Yeah. Vigo was the same way. When
That's
I first,
great.
as it says in my book, when I first met him, he is one of those people. He walks in the room and his whole presence fills the entire room, and you can't stop.
It's unexplainable
looking
unless
at
you've
it.
seen it.
Something mathematical about their faces. I think there's something
to it?
That's how Michael Jordan was too.
Oh, I can
Really?
believe that.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, that's someone famous or someone gonna be famous
Yeah.
or something special.
They're on their
about
way if
them.
they're not there
Do
already.
you want to hear? Speaking of famous people knowing your name, you want to hear the greatest day of my life?
Yes, please.
There's an actress by the name of Colleen Camp. She's been around
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
She was in
Of
Clue.
course.
She's
Yeah, yeah.
in Valley Girl, and
Who was she in
I
Clue?
love her, the blonde
she
girl.
was the French maid
yeah.
in Clue.
Love her.
Yes.
But
She's awesome.
She's now a very famous producer. Sort of, they call her the Oscar Whisperer because every year she throws these gigantic parties where they get people to push the movies that they want to be
I didn't know
nominated.
she was still.
Yeah,
wow.
they call her the Oscar Whisperer.
I love this behind the scenes shit.
Oh,
I love this
this
stuff.
is like
So
my favorite.
I have somehow throughout the years ended up on this list that I get invited. Like I was at the what's the one where the Korean
God,
family
Billy.
took over that house?
Parasite.
I was there. I was the fighter. I was at everything, and I want to say maybe it was the fighter. I can't remember. There was two times. So at the Colleen has parties at her house. Which we didn't say that where that is, but
No,
there's
no.
a big party for her. So I went there, and
Koreatown.
every movie star in the planet was at her house. Like literally, it's like, oh, there's Tom Cruise. Wow, J-Lo. Oh, here's Marky Mark, that guy. It's like, I mean, everyone's famous except for me. Borat was there. Like everyone was there, and I met Robert De Niro, and here he is at this party, right? And he's like, hey, yeah, and he's leaning forward, like, what's your name? And Billy, like, blah blah blah. Oh, it's nice to meet you. And he literally was looking at you like while he's talking. Like a lot of those people at that party, they're looking around.
This
Right.
is the way they look. Watch.
Right.
Past your head.
Yeah. How are you? Yeah, yeah.
They're not even. Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg in particular. And like Penny Marshall was like not even listening to me when I made the mistake of saying how much I loved her, which apparently was like a big no-no because she didn't like it, but whole other story. So I met Robert De Niro. So then about like 3 weeks later, I get invited to Chateau Marmont. I can't think of the movie, but it was around that same time period of The Fighter. And I go up to the bar, and Robert De Niro's like right at the bar. And then I look at him, I'm thinking he's never going to remember me. And he goes, hey, Billy, how are you? I go,
No
my
fucking
God, Robert De
way.
Niro knew my name.
Oh, I
Like, what's your name again?
Yeah.
Bob? Yeah.
Robert De Niro remembered
That's
me.
pretty
Wow.
unbelievable.
Well, let's see if it happens this year. No, I'm kidding.
Who would have
2
thought,
years
like, when you
later.
were a kid growing up in Fresno, or was it Fresno where you're from?
Yeah.
That someday De Niro would remember
Dude.
your name.
Dude, forget that. What about someone from Fresno flying to Italy? I just was like,
There you
I
go.
should be
Insane.
selling meth.
You might be
I
the
should
only
not
person.
be-
You might be the only person that ever flew from Fresno to Italy that wasn't like a.
At flew and flee. There
Yeah.
are two things.
There you go.
We fled from LA and then we flew to Rome.
But then also the fact that someone said, "I want to help you," and they actually went
Did help
through
me.
with it.
It really did. And so did
That
Charles
never
Band.
happens here.
Yeah, so did Charles. Never happens
Never.
here. Never.
Nope.
So we mentioned John Beekler earlier, and we have a lot of horror fans that watch this show just because we talk about
good.
movies so much. And I've been doing radio for 12 years. We talk about horror all the time. John Beekler is responsible for making the best Jason Voorhees, and it's undeniable.
Yeah.
The Part 7, the New Blood Jason is the best one.
Yeah.
And that's the Jason that killed you.
Yes, and I'm the first person that Kane Hodder killed. It's
amazing.
Well, actually, I'll tell you a little something that's a little bit of a brag. When Kane was in the movie Prison, I helped apply the makeup, the monster makeup that Kane wore in that movie. And that makeup that he wore in that movie is what convinced Paramount to let him be Jason.
You made
So,
Jason.
I'm part of it. I was part of it.
You got Kane. In a way,
And
you
Kane
helped.
says that. Kane says that still to this day. And then I ended up, the weird part is I ended up being in Friday the 13th. And then it was such a nice time for me because I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I somehow was in show business. And then to not only be in show business, but go to set and see people that you've already worked with. It just feels so like I'm really in the system. Like, hey, Kane, how's it going? Hey, John Beekler, what's up, man? Like, it was awesome. I was really the luckiest nerd on the planet, I have to tell you.
I'm also a nerd. I'm a horror nerd. So truly having you here is really a treat for me.
Oh, thank you.
Because like I watched that movie. I watched Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw 3. I've seen both of those movies hundreds of times. Like, you are
sorry
Ryan
for
to
you.
me more than anybody else. Ryan, which is your character in Leatherface.
Yeah,
I've never
well,
seen that.
you need
Oh.
to come with me to signings because oftentimes when they
Do you know how bad I want? I've never been to a convention. I've wanted to go my whole life. I've just
you
never
should
done
go.
it.
I just went to Texas Frightmare. It's like the best horror convention on the planet. I thought we were gonna have an earthquake.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh my god, this would be so cool.
No,
But anyway, you know what's funny is oftentimes people bring posters for us to sign, and I've been in so many of those films that they always go, "Can you write your name and can you write your characters?" And I almost like write the wrong character because
well, it's Ryan Leatherface. It's Michael
yeah.
in 7.
Wow.
Right?
Okay,
I know my
Ma'am?
stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
you do.
when I first moved I moved here in 99, and one of the first people I met was a guy who was killed by Freddy in part 4, Dream Master.
Who was that?
I think it's Andres.
Oh yeah,
right?
He's a musician.
Yeah. So I was at a friend's house, and he happened to be
Andres
over there.
Jones, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recognized him, and he was like, "Whoa, I don't get recognized a lot for
Freddie?
for that." But the people like you and people like that are the people I was most excited to start seeing in LA.
And it was really fun to be a part of that group.
That's
And
what I want to know.
yeah.
Like, did you feel it? Like, could you tell?
We're still friends, all of us.
That's
I mean, I'm
amazing.
directing this new series that I do for Amazon Prime called Resonator, Miskatonic You. First 2 episodes are on Amazon Prime right now. But Amanda Wyss actually is one of the villains
Tina.
in the show. And every time she's talking to me, I just stare at her. I'm just thinking like, wow, it's Tina from Nightmare on Elm Street.
the first person
You
Freddy
know?
killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's
Yes.
such a.
I'm so
It
happy
seems
to-
like such a familial community.
it is.
The horror thing.
It is. And more so, even the older you get, it's more like, first of all, if you're fortunate enough to still be alive, because some people croak out, it is kind of like particularly the Friday the 13th people, it's almost like we went to high school together, even
Well,
if
I mean-
you're in a different franchise.
The movie's based on a camp in a way. You guys all went to the same camp together.
Yeah, but I mean, even like, Adrian, who's in the first one, I'm friends with her. Like, you just, from going to these conventions, you just end up being friends, and it's a great community to
What
be
about
in.
Kyle Richards? Are you friends with her?
Is she the girl?
She's in
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah, she's in that new one. I didn't
Yeah.
really like that. Did you watch it?
Well, I
Haven't
loved
seen
it.
You did?
Oh, you saw it?
The one couple years ago.
No, the one that
No,
just
the
came
one-
out on Friday night.
I'm seeing it today, Saturday. I'm seeing it
Yeah.
tomorrow
Okay,
night.
let me know how you like it.
I've heard it's either
see it.
the worst in the franchise or it's fantastic.
I'll tell you, if you like, what's his name, Michael Myers killing people, it's fucking fantastic.
I heard they amped that up quite a bit
Yeah,
from the
so-
last one.
Oh,
that
really?
part of it, if that's why you're there, you're gonna absolutely love it. And by the way, it's not bad. It's just it feels to me, it felt like an episode of a TV show because they know there's another one,
Right.
And it's kind of like,
And we
as
all
a
know.
writer,
Right,
as a
sure.
writer who has to, I go, all right, I warn everyone. Okay, here's the episode where everyone's talking, so just get ready because that money wise, you kind of got the feeling that they just went. Make this one exciting, stabby,
And we'll really give it to 'em
not
on the
too
last
story
one.
heavy. Yeah, right. And then at the end, so it's not bad, but it wasn't really keeping my attention because how many times they do come up with some very good kills.
Of course.
I really don't really mean to badmouth it, but
I don't think you are.
yeah,
I don't think you
I
are.
just was kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Cool.
you know.
I'll take it.
I mean,
You don't have to like everything, by the way.
like I was in all the original recipe. What do I care about those retreads? No, I'm kidding.
At what point, like, because you did those movies, you were in Freddy's Nightmares too.
I was on the TV series. Yeah.
You were in 2 episodes, and
Yeah.
you played 2 different characters. Mm-hmm. That's so funny. I don't know why it's so funny to me,
Yeah.
but to play 2 characters in the
Well,
same
because
series.
I'll tell you why. Because every time I would do a fucking movie, they would hire me, and then they would change everything about me, how I would look. They'd dye my hair black, or they make it blonde, or I never looked the same ever. I'd have glasses or whatever. At the time, I loved it, but except for when
This
they,
has to be a
those
film.
those
They dye my
episodes
hair,
those
that was
episodes are hard to find of Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah.
But I also loved those as a kid. Were you on screen with Freddy in those?
yes,
Did he kill you?
no,
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've been on screen with the greats.
yes.
That's pretty amazing.
One I didn't die at all, and then one I saw him, but I
Love
didn't
it.
die. Yeah.
So I was saying that I've recognized people. I worked at a hair salon in the Valley here when I was like 23, and my boss had a client come in, kind of like a middle-aged woman came in, and she looked familiar to me. I'm like, I think I know this woman. She sat down and she started talking, and I was like, that's Sue Blue.
Tina.
Yeah. Sue Blue, who was in
that?
she was the mom in the movie that he was in, Friday the 13th Part
She's
7.
also a very famous animation voice lady.
Oh,
And
yeah,
she's
that's
like
right.
Smurfette, and she's like Wonder Woman, and she's the animation voice.
That's
And
what she's
a
done more
huge-
of
yeah.
is the voice
and
work.
a really, really nice person.
Oh, she was wonderful.
Completely fun.
And she's another one where I was like, were you in Friday the 13th? And she just started laughing like crazy. She goes, I can't believe that you know that. I was like, well, I'm a bit of a lunatic. I love this
Yeah.
stuff.
I
grew up,
people-
I grew up, I was born in 79. So when you were in those movies, it was like peak time for me. You know, I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And
Yeah.
I've been a horror fan since I was 5. I got it from my mom got me into horror movies, and I got the Bates Motel and stuff on there.
That's cool.
But those movies, that was my escape from everything. Like
Me too.
my home life was awful.
Mine too.
I hated it,
Mine too.
and I was sad. If I wasn't in my room,
Me too.
I was sad.
You
Yeah.
have to read this book.
Oh, I'm
It's
going
the same
to.
story.
Once I learn to read, I promise I'm going to read it.
I'll
No,
read it to you. I'll read
That'd
it
be
to
great.
you.
We'll do like a little snuggle party.
Yeah.
But
Same thing.
so
like I grew
these
up.
movies mean so much to me, and so many people, and I think horror fans seem to connect with these things so much more than any other kind of genre.
for sure.
of
And-
movies.
And they are a very dedicated bunch, the horror fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're very particular, but they are very, very nice. And I mean, still to this day, I mean, every day I get instant messages from people that say that sometimes I'll give you a really good example. I was at a screening, not even here in town. It was in Ohio. It was one of the episodes of Baby Oopsie, this thing I did.
Also on Amazon Prime, by the way.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
love the
Episode 1 and
name.
2.
What's it about?
It's about this woman that is a hoarder, a toy hoarder, big 500-pound woman. And one day this box comes to her and it's got all these doll pieces in it. And so she decides to restore it. And everyone that's mean to this lady gets killed by the doll. And,
Oh my God.
And pretty soon the doll runs out of bad people, and the doll starts saying like, well, I got to kill somebody. So it starts killing her friends, and then so she kind of declares war on the doll.
Based on a true story, by the way. Based on
Yeah,
a true
right,
story.
right,
Yeah.
right. No, but it's it's
sounds
funny.
amazing.
It's funny. It turned out really good.
Oh my God.
But anyway,
You're in Ohio.
in
Yep.
Ohio, and somebody said something that I didn't even know what they were saying. They're right behind me, and they said something, and I was like, "What?" And they're like saying something like some odd thing, and I was like,
With, like,
staring
a
at. They're like,
mask on
"Oh no,
too, or
that's sorry. That's a line from Buried Alive, movie Buried Alive." I was like, "Buried Alive? You remember that one?" Like,
Deep cut. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was probably one of the most funny. I did that one in South Africa. Me, Donald Pleasance,
Oh my God. Legend.
Robert Vaughn, Ginger Lynn Allen, former porn star, Karen Witter, and crazy.
Wait, my aunt was in a horror film. Her name is Brooke Adams, and she
Oh,
was
yeah.
in with the hand. What was
Brooke
that called?
Adams. She was a
What was that-
working actress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was that called? It was like the hand, and Lisa Kudrow she was like
I
her
think
first.
it was it called The Hand or no, it was something.
What's that? It
It was like a dark comedy.
The only hands is Idle Hands, Evil
Yeah,
Dead.
Idle Hands. I think that's what
was
you're
it Idle
talking about.
Hands with Devin Soya and
I don't have my phone on me, but I'd look it
I'll
up.
look it up. Lisa Kudrow, you said?
And it was like she had the baby. Oh no, it was called because she had the baby, and the evil doctor was gonna. Oh my God.
I love horror movies so much.
Yeah.
But Lisa Kudrow, that was like one of her first parts. She was like the receptionist at the doctor's office. Oh my God.
Looking for it.
And there was a freaking hand like crawling all over the place.
Here, look for it.
I like so we're all on our phones.
That's fine.
Sorry,
I don't give a shit.
I'm all over the place.
Hold
So
on, I
I.
gotta find out that band's name. What is that?
Oh yeah, I was
band's-
gonna.
We're still back to the
What
band.
is that?
I have a feeling my friend
ADD.
plays drums for it. Is the drummer's name
They're
Daniel
they're-
Fox?
They're very famous. Like, I'm just having like a moment.
Kiss. It's Kiss, of course.
No, but they wear masks.
Okay.
And the lead singer's a really, really good singer. He never shows his face.
Oh, it's
and
called
I think his name is Skinny or something like that. And he was. You never in your life they were so supportive of us. Like anything that we needed, they.
It's called The Unborn.
Oh, that's a good
And that's
film.
Yeah.
Wait,
ever
Brooke
see that?
Adams is your aunt?
She's my aunt-in-law. Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah. No.
What else was she in? She was in something. She
Lace.
was another,
Remember Lace? Remember Lace
Yeah,
was
but
the
she was in other.
she was
some
in
Invasion of the Body
Invasion
Snatchers.
of the
She
Body
was in
Snatchers,
Invasion
yeah.
of the Body.
The Dead
Which is
Zone.
Still, the Dead Zone was great.
Yeah.
And Christopher
She's the
Walken
girl in-
actually got her the job because they were friends in New York, and they needed a woman, and he's like, oh yeah, I have my
Mushroom
friend
Head.
Oh
Mushroom
yeah,
Head.
of course.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
I love
We should have known
those guys
that.
are awesome.
I know,
We actually opened for them a
Can't
couple
apologize.
times.
That's just. Of course, it's Mushroom Head.
Remember there's a place there called the Fantasy, and it's a club where it has a half of a boat inside.
Oh, cool.
Remember? And
No.
then we opened up for Mushroom Head. Years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
their
like,
music's really cool.
It's
And
heavy.
in fact,
They're good.
their whole team, their art guy, their lighting people.
But
their-
they've been around since like I would
I
say
know.
They started
Gotta-
before Slipknot and before all that stuff.
so
yeah.
far. Yeah,
Yeah.
they trailed the
And their music videos are amazing. My team who shoots my stuff there, they're the guys that do the music videos.
Mushroom Head. I can't believe I forgot.
Yeah, me too. I apologize for people. That
When did you make the switch into directing?
I remember that I made a big leap from acting into writing and directing. I was auditioning for Murphy Brown, the TV show Murphy Brown, and by that time I think I was about 37, and I had starred in movies, and I had really painted myself in a corner in regards to being in so much horror stuff that nobody wanted me for anything else but that.
It's hard to look past
Right.
your
And
body of
LA
work.
and Hollywood, they put you in a box and that's it. So I told my agent, well, I'll do under fives, 5 and unders, which is long, you get 5 lines on a sitcom or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll do that. And then they'll start realizing that I'm funny and I'll be able to start doing that. So I was doing that. I ended up doing like Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place and all that. Wasn't funny, but I was doing small parts in those shows. So I go to do this Murphy Brown audition and I go in. There's no chairs in the lobby. Everyone's sitting on the floor. I have to go to the bathroom. It's on the Warner Brothers lot, and I say to the receptionist, like, oh, "Excuse me, where's the bathroom?" She's like, "We don't have one," and I'm like, "You don't have a bathroom in the entire Warner Brothers lot?" She's like, "No, not for actors. You're gonna have to wait or whatever." I'm
Wait,
like,
what?
"Yeah." So I'm like, "Okay." So I'm sitting on the floor at 37 years old with a bunch of other guys that look exactly like me. Okay, and I hear everyone doing the exact same reading, and I was there about an hour and a half and was about to pee my pants and like was telling the lady, like, I really either need to leave or I need to hold on. And so she goes in and then the casting director just goes, "You get in here." I go in there. I'm sitting down and I start to read these 5 lines for this woman after having starred in movies and walked the red carpet at Mann's Chinese Theater.
You paid your dues, but
I'm willing to do it, but be polite. And then so I got the first line out and her phone rang and she went,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
and then she gets on there. She's like, oh, and she's eating like a Reuben sandwich and the whole room stinks. And I just was sitting there and just my internal.
Sorry, but what a cunt. I mean,
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'm never doing this ever again. And then she hung up the phone. She goes, "Go ahead." And then I just go, I think I'm done. And then she goes, "Excuse me?" And I go, no.
Yeah.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
And she went, "All right, bring in the next person." She could care less.
Of course.
She could care less.
Why
She
do
knew
they-
who I was. She could care less.
She seems
So
like such a
it's so
cliche
gross.
of
was.
that kind of person. And
And
why are
so-
they like that?
I walked out of Warner
So
Brothers.
gross. It's because
and
they're allowed to be.
I went to Nicotero's shop, Greg Nicotero.
I wanted to ask you about him, of
Yeah,
course.
They've been my friends forever. And I said they were working on what's the one with the vampires in the desert with Quentin?
Oh, Dust Till Dawn.
They're working on Dust Till Dawn. I was like, "Do you have a job for me? Like, I'll make skeletons. I'll do whatever." And they're like, "Yeah." I call my parents. I was like, "I'm not an actor anymore. Like, I'm not doing this." My
It's
parents were like,
amazing to
"Thank
me,
God."
but not to cut you off, but like that you're so open to do whatever's needed.
I just love all of it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And that the only reason that you are open to doing whatever is because you seem to still genuinely love
I do.
Hollywood
and
or
I'll tell you what else.
films.
I'll tell you what else I didn't like was starving myself for 14 years.
Yeah.
Like the first thing I did was go have a fucking giant, sandwich with potato salad and not have to go to the gym twice a day and all that nonsense. Like,
Because you didn't care if you were on screen ever again.
no, and grooming is like such a big part of acting. It's so embarrassing to say that you have to really be careful about every
I work with
aspect.
rock stars, and being in shape is part of your job,
It's part
which
of your
is
job.
it's wild.
I know. I was going twice a day to stay as skinny as I was. And I just was like, it's not that important to me anymore. And then, like, people want to see me getting killed, and that's great, but I need a break from getting killed, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so I started, again, I had contacts at National Lampoon Magazine. I started writing for National Lampoon Magazine. Then the next thing I knew, I just wrote some spec screenplays. And because I was known in the horror world, they started to sell. And I sold this movie Madhouse that I did for Lakeshore. And then the truth of the matter is, I think I'm a better writer and a director than I ever was an actor to begin with. So I think I landed where I was supposed to land.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe in a couple of years you'll see me as with a wooden leg, you know, playing a pirate in something.
You're not welcome back here until you have a wooden leg.
Okay, well, at the rate I'm going, you know, I could be diabetic, and that could happen.
So you've done a lot of acting, and at this point, a lot of directing. Does being an actor help with being a director more so than being a director helps with dealing with actors? Like which one?
100%.
Which one strengthens the other one more?
100%.
Okay.
Because we're fucking crazy.
Actors or directors?
Yes, actors.
Okay.
Directors are pushy control freaks, and actors are nuts. And one of my favorite parts of directing is that first couple of days where I'm figuring out what you need and what you need. Some people just rip their pages out of the script and they just want to know their lines and they don't care about. And then other people like Viggo Mortensen dig a hole and go lay in the mud for 2 weeks. Whatever gets you there, it doesn't matter as long as you get there. But every single person works completely different. And that part of it, it was when I would run into that, which I do on every single project, no, if it's a micro budget project or a big project, every single time I can see someone's gear spinning and I know how they work. Like, and I'm down to like play any way they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the lady that was in Baby Oopsie, you know, it's not easy being a person of ginormousness. And so that was also part of it too. Like just making sure that she's able to like get through the day, you know, like.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
there's less you can do for a long period of time.
In a big way. Yeah.
Right.
Like literally having to have someone standing right off screen with a chair where they sit down in between takes.
Wild.
Yeah, but it was worth it. She's a brilliant actress, and
you've shown follow your Instagram, which is at William.
Yeah, I think it's the only William Butler. I've been saying the wrong one, but let me tell you right now.
Yeah, let's let them know because you you show a lot of behind the scenes stuff of what you're doing.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of the people that are paying for it.
Oh no, it's great because it makes people that follow you. Like I wouldn't have known what Baby Oopsie was if it wasn't for following.
How dare you?
You know, no, but I mean it. But like you're promoting, like we talked about earlier, you're promoting what you're doing, and what could be better than that?
It's just the William
Butler. But follow him. You do some really funny, like when you first got to that house in Ohio, and you're doing like you're like laying in bed talking about being scared. You're hearing all these sounds because they put you guys all up in one big, like an old creaky ass fucking
by myself.
By yourself.
So Charles Band bought this house, 13 bedrooms, 7 fireplaces, 7 bathrooms, 4 stories,
and 1,000 bad vibes.
It's called the Full Moon Manor. The Full Moon Manor, and
Wait,
it's like
where?
it's in Cleveland
right?
Heights. Yeah. So it's where it's our home base. And sometimes we film there. We filmed most of Baby Oopsie there. And, you know, when I went the first time there, I didn't have time to like think too much because I was so busy. And there's like 10 other people staying in the house with you at the same time. So you hear people thumping around.
Of course.
Now I've moved to the guest house because I can't take it anymore. But you hear people thumping around all the time. You don't think anything of it. Well, when we had the screening of Baby Oopsie, I stayed there by myself. On the middle floor, 2 stories below me, all lights off, giant staircase.
Nope.
And so the 2 leads, this is actually a good story. The 2 leads are this one woman, Libby Higgins. She's a comedian. She does the Carla McRib character. She's like a viral sensation. She's brilliant actress. And then the other person that plays her friend is this guy named Justin, who's a TikTok star. He's that kind of guy that's bald with the long hair that does all those dances where he's slapping his ass and everything. You know what I'm saying? He has 1 tooth. He plays her best friend. So the 2 of them came into town to come watch the screening party We all flew into Cleveland, and I wasn't thinking anything of being there by myself at all. And they came to the house and we ate dinner, and they're going to go to a hotel room. For some reason, I didn't encourage them staying there. I don't know why I didn't, but so she's getting into the Uber, and then he's sitting at the kitchen table with, this house is massive. You have to understand, like, I'm talking huge. So he's sitting at the kitchen table. All the lights are off except for the little kitchen, which is basically like the helps kitchen, not like the dining room, and the breakfast room, which is a different room.
The breakfast room.
He's sitting at the table, and then he's looking beyond my shoulder, and he goes, "Oh, who's staying here with you?"
No.
And I go,
No.
"Nobody." He goes, "No, there's a lady in there, the lady with the blue dress. Who's that?"
Oh, for
I
fuck's
go,
sake.
"What?" He goes, "There's a lady with the blue dress on in the living room." I go, "Justin, you cannot say this." He goes, "There's someone else here."
Was he kidding?
No. So we went and looked, and there was no one there. And I was like, "You motherfucker." And then he got in his car and left, and I'm there by myself. So
You were not by yourself.
and also the rooms are massive. Each room has its own fireplace and stuff. It's literally like
It's like an
Legend
like
of
an
Hell House.
Right.
It's that
Right,
big.
right,
Okay.
right.
So I go into Charlie's room because for some reason the room that they've designated as my room, they were dressing it for some other movie. They put like shitty wallpaper on. It's a great house to film in. I think they're in the middle of doing that. So I went in Charles's room. His room doesn't have a lock on the door. So I go in there, and all I'm hearing in this 150-year-old house is creaking and moaning, and the wood popping because it's all wood.
Right.
So I literally called my parents and was like, how's it going? And like, my mom's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm in this house by myself. I'm scared to death." Somebody said there's a lady.
I'm
with
just
a
in my
blue
50s and
dress.
terrified of ghosts. That's all.
And I direct horror films. I stayed awake all night listening to my Law of Attraction tapes, which I'm really big on.
Oh my god, it's like you're my spirit. Look, I do the same
Are you a
thing.
Law of Attraction person?
But
do you
I
listen
call-
to the ones where that help you fall asleep?
Yes.
That guy's great.
Amazing. But I also call my mom and dad for everything. I
Yeah.
was telling them the other day that I was in a fire in Chicago in my apartment.
Oh, no.
And it was all smoky. The first thing I did, I
Call
called my
them.
mom.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Mom, I think my apartment's on fire." She's like, "What are you doing? Get
Right.
out!" I'm
That
like,
does
"Yeah,
sound like
okay,
me.
yeah."
Yeah.
I call them
I
for
think I'm
everything.
about to be
After
murdered.
every earthquake, I call my mom, crying. "Oh, there's
Yeah.
an earthquake." She's like,
Fucking
"What?"
earthquakes, man. Fuck
I'm going to
that
take a
shit.
quick potty break. You
Yeah,
guys talk for a
sorry.
second.
Anyway, so I stayed awake all night long listening to my Law of Attraction tapes. Those work, though.
They do.
Which guy do you got? Dowsey, the Dowsey
It's
Law
on
of
YouTube.
Attraction. Yeah.
So there's one. Yeah.
And he's going like that. It's the ones that before you go to sleep.
Oh yeah.
Breathe in. All right. I want you to imagine the life that you want to have. You know
Well,
that? Yeah.
clearly
I fall
it's
asleep.
not working for me, but
Oh no, then you're not doing it right. But I usually fall asleep like 7 minutes into it. I really want to like repeat all the shit that he's saying in your head.
Yeah.
It really listen. It's not as magical as The Secret and all that. It's not as magical as they try to make it out to be. I
Right.
think what it does is you carry yourself different. Like if you go, I'm gonna be a fucking movie director. And then you
Right.
become one because you're so convinced that you are one that people start treating you accordingly.
Right.
I think that's pretty much what it really is. I don't think it's like, they
But
was
it's not like a magic-
make
there's
a
a-
wish to the universe.
there's a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. Have you heard of him? Mm-mm. He was a guy who was in a really bad car accident. He was hit on his bike,
Right.
and he almost died. And he was in the hospital for almost a year. I could be making this up. Maybe it's like five months or whatever, but close enough. And they told him that you're never gonna walk ever again. And he decided to reprogram his brain.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he's walking. He has like these talks, these seminars,
Yeah.
and there's a book called "Reprogramming Your Brain." Redoing.
I think there's
I forget what
positively
it's-
something to do with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I never follow through.
Oh, you got to. That's the thing.
You know what I
And
mean?
even
Listen
saying
and-
that, like, you just gotta like.
No, I mean,
Here's the thing.
I
is,
am gonna follow.
You can
through.
pull yourself. Everyone's done this. You
Yeah.
can pull yourself into a bubble of despair of like, oh my God, I'm fucking broke all the time. Oh my God, could things get any worse? And blah, blah. You keep doing that.
Right.
And then it's just like, it just is.
Right.
And it's also your perception of what you start focusing on, all the bad shit. Or you can get up and put your fucking feet on the floor and realize that you're lucky that you're able to even do that.
Completely.
And so that's step one. Beyond that, then you can just say, I am what I say I am. And you can't let anyone tell you that you're not pretty enough or good enough to be an actor, or you're not a director, or you're not a musician. Like, what everyone else thinks of you is not your fucking problem. Just be who you want to be, you know?
I just had a friend, I'll put in quotes, tell me that I'm too old now to be a producer and to work on films.
It's a cool friend.
And she's, I didn't know you were here. Sorry, it scared me. I was like, oh.
So let me guess that she's failed at something, or she's tried something. And she's
she's pretty like.
Oh, she's successful.
But she told me that I should have started young, but I was raised a Jehovah's Witness.
right.
So I wasn't allowed to do anything for years.
Right.
So for
No
me,
holidays, no birthdays, no nothing.
So I'm
The
like,
thing about
what?
that,
I'm too old?
the thing about that with me is that I was raised around the surroundings of you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. Who the fuck do you think you're fooling? You'll never be able to do this. Like blah blah. But with me, it has a completely different reaction. Is I go, oh really?
Like,
Okay,
fuck you, I'm gonna do it.
yeah. Like my father was like, you're fat, you're stupid, blah blah blah. And then like 3 years later, I was modeling for Swatch in L.A. Like back when Swatch counted.
Wait,
but
what?
Yeah, I was a Swatch model, and I just mean because I have good wrists.
You were a Swatch.
I'll show you a picture. Yeah, I looked pretty hot in that. I gotta say.
All I wanted was
We
got
gotta find that and throw it
phone.
up on the screen.
I'll give
All
it
I
to you.
wanted in my life
Was
was
a
a
Swatch?
Swatch phone. I still want. No, I had a Swatch.
Wait, do
but
they
I
still
wanted
make
the-
them?
Was that the clear phone?
Yes.
It was? Those were fucking rad.
Do they still make swatches?
I
No.
think it came back for a little
Yeah.
bit.
If they're
I
not
think-
back now, they should come back because it
we
would be
should bring
huge.
them. I'm
It would
willing
be
to
huge.
model now. I mean,
Can you
I'm really-
imagine? That would
yeah,
be
it'd
great.
So great.
I'm
Yeah,
still
just
here,
me-
guys.
Me laying in bed with beer cans all around me. But so anyway, yeah.
Sorry. Anyhow.
Yeah. So to get hippy dippy, I guess does sound very LA, but I'll tell you that positive thinking shit, it works for me, man. And I've gone down the toilet on the other end of it as well.
Yeah.
When my house of cards falls, it's down to 0 penny,
Do you know about my story about the homeless man that attacked me and poured a bucket of shit all over me?
No.
Did you hear
The
about
reason,
that story?
listen,
Are you
This
that
is
Billy,
how she-
It was
Billy.
on the news, right?
Yes.
That's her.
Wait, what? You're
So-
that lady?
This is why I know her. I used to have a different co-host on the show, and I heard her story, and I was like, that's the kind of person that I want to talk to.
I
on
want
the
to
show.
be. I want my co-host.
No. We just had her on as a guest a couple times
Shit
just to tell the
bucket.
story, and she was so lovable. Now she's here permanently. But
All right.
Thanks.
So we're not talking about nothing else.
you're not the
until
only famous guy in the room, by the way. You know,
We're not
yeah.
talking about nothing else until you recap that story.
You can
Was
still
it
smell
on
it.
Santa
You
Monica
can still
Boulevard.
smell it a little
Avenue?
bit.
No, it was on Hollywood and Bronson.
Okay, you have it coming. Walking in that neighborhood.
No,
All
but
right.
I wasn't. I was at
She's wearing a sexy dress. She deserved
I
it.
was at totally. I was at a Thai restaurant, and my boyfriend and his friend parked in the garage. I parked out front. It was like 9 at night. I walked out. It was right out front, maybe like 20 steps away.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in my car, opened my door, and I hear this weird like
Sloshing.
yeah, but it was like weird. And I looked up, and it was this huge guy. No, it wasn't. All I remember is this guy like.
Did you say
coming
anything
at
to
me.
him beforehand?
Not at all.
She's
he
like,
was
"Give it to
across-
me."
He was across the
What's in
street.
that bucket over there?
Looks delicious.
what's in
I
the
love
bucket?
chocolate fondue.
But he came at me. He threw me in my car. Like it was actually a violent attack because I tore my bicep and stuff. So
He threw you in your car. You
threw
had the
me in my
door open.
car.
All the shit fanatics of the world laughing.
That's all. That's our whole fan base. Is our whole listenership.
Oh, they're
I
all
feel
in-
bad
It's
because
all
I think
scat
everybody's
folks.
heard
No,
this
I don't
stupid
care.
story.
You know what?
never gets
Tough
old.
titty, said the kitty.
I get hard every time you tell it.
Shoved in
Tell
the
it again,
car,
please.
And then did he go
He
like
shoved me-
this with the bucket,
No.
or was it?
I don't even know. Like it all happened like so fast that when I went to get out the first time, he pushed me back in, and then I
Motherfucker.
just went. There's that fight, flight, or freeze, and then there's another one.
She chose to froze.
I froze.
You went
I,
into like a shit blackout.
Yeah.
Well, I thought
Yeah.
that I was gonna die. I thought he was gonna
Yeah.
stab
Shit
me
shock.
because he
Shit
didn't.
You
shock.
seem like seriously still traumatized.
Oh, she
by
is.
this.
He didn't see he didn't say a word. He looked at me like he fucking hated me. And I was like, what the fuck? And I just was like, I thought about my family, my mom, I just thought about all my whole life. And I was like, this is how I'm going to go. He's going to rape me,
Oh, it
stab,
was bad, yeah.
stab me. Then it was worse. Just
And
kidding.
where was he holding the bucket behind his back, or is
I don't
it
know.
to
I
the
think
side?
it was on. I don't know if I think it was like in his hand because he was big. He was like 6'2", like 6'3", and he was a big guy. And then he pulled me
Makes
out
it
by my
worse.
shirt.
Yeah.
Big turds.
It was all liquefied. It didn't matter. Yeah.
And he started to pour it on my head, and I didn't know
And did you
what
go,
was
okay,
happening.
I'll just take the arm wrenching. Could you
please
go
kill
back,
me.
Punch
Yeah,
my
just-
arm
yeah.
again.
And remember in the 80s when that model
Please
in
kill
New
me.
York?
I'd rather die than live through it, to be
Please
honest with you.
kill me.
Just put a
please
bullet in my
kill
head,
me.
please.
Remember the model in New York in like 1980s? And she was a huge model,
Yeah,
and
they
she got
stabbed
the
her face,
The
yeah.
acid, no, the acid.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
And that's what I thought it
You
was.
felt- yeah.
Because it burned. So then people.
Oh, for fuck's
my
sake.
God,
So
he
I don't know
had
if it-
Korean food
I don't know,
beforehand.
I don't know.
He had one of those Reaper nuts that we ate last night.
Oh my God, he did the chip challenge.
Yes.
Gross. But it was cold outside.
We got
so
one
I
more,
feel like
Heidi.
it was.
We got one more.
Oh,
What the fuck is that?
Oh,
That's the peanut, the Carolina Reaper peanut that we ate last night.
Oh,
Do you
I
like
must
hot-
be psychic.
Do you like hot stuff?
No, I would like literally start crying. All right, and then
I
so
did.
and then it hit
and
you
then
literally.
then I realized what it was. My hair was up in a bun, and it started to roll down my eyes. And then he kept pouring it on top
What
of
a
me over
fucking
and over
asshole.
again. And then he poured the rest of it. It was like an old like a Folgers party can. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the, like
Yeah.
a banquets they'd have it. And then he ran away, but my eyes were I couldn't see anything, and I'm in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard. Nobody pulled over. Then I make this joke.
In everyone's
that-
defense, I wouldn't stop for you either.
Well,
It's a,
I
it's a
would've.
woman on Hollywood Boulevard covered in diarrhea.
Or I would have
But they
pulled
didn't-
over and called 911. Is this during
Right.
cell phone time?
Yeah,
this is like a couple years ago.
Are you fucking kidding me?
2019, and because it was 2019 and all
Please
this happened.
tell me they caught him.
So this couple had
yeah.
just seen Cats. So I always say the poor couple.
You
It just got worse. This couple had pulled over and
Yeah,
was
well,
like,
they have it coming if they
Yeah.
want to go see
Exactly.
Cats. I mean,
Like,
So
this is better than that thing we just saw in the theater by a lot.
What's going on here? So she pulled over. They pulled over, and he called 911 because I was.
and they were all coming out of the car
screaming.
like,
Let's go investigate this shit
Yeah.
girl.
look her over there, look at her over there.
Street lights.
She's a lady with, she's got poop on her head, poop on her head.
Boy,
Bum,
does she
bum.
stink.
Wouldn't it be great if they were actors? They
great.
were actors from Cats, and they had the cat
Perfect.
outfits
Perfect,
on, and then they
perfect,
try to bury you. They try to bury you.
Of course, of course.
This is horrible.
That's funny shit.
This
That's
story
good.
is fucking horrible.
And then she had a napkin or like and she cleaned out my eyes a little bit, and I opened them, and he was across the street staring at me. And the thing I heard, this sound, was he had no shoes on. He was running full
was
speed across the
crazy,
street.
crazy.
He was schizophrenic.
Yeah,
is-
yeah.
Is what
Something's
we found.
going on.
Is
Something
what
was
we
going on.
found out. So they pulled me aside. The cops came. They detained him like across the street.
And did they call an
then
ambulance to like rinse you off?
Oh, it gets
Okay,
so much
so
worse.
get this.
Give them the whole story. It's okay. Give them the whole story.
The fire truck came,
Yes.
and they were the hottest firemen you've ever seen in your fucking
The
life.
story just got better.
The hottest, like,
And you're all
young.
like, this is how we. Oh, never
Like, I know you guys from the calendar. What are you doing here?
And you're all like,
That's what they-
hey, and you're forgetting. You're like,
Oh
No
my
shit on my tits, guys.
God.
Come
Talk
on.
about a
And
wet
I'm-
T-shirt contest.
It's brown wetness, but it works.
But I'm still sobbing. Like I'm in pain.
I want to
in
just
really-
adopt you
It's
on this.
awful.
We did.
So-
That's why she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. We did adopt her.
Do you still like run to your car now when you leave places?
You have no idea.
You don't even go out.
Wait.
Right,
She gets-
So they had to peel off my clothes because I'm drenched.
Okay, I'm
Put
not
him in a
laughing.
hazmat bag.
Yes.
All my favorite shit. My favorite jacket.
Well,
my
not
leather.
anymore. Not
Well,
anymore.
No, it's
Not
all
anymore.
gone. It's
yeah,
all gone.
Yeah, it's pretty much over.
And then I had my underwear, my bra, my socks, and I was like, I'm not bikini ready. And I was just like, oh my god, this sucks so
I love
bad.
that you have shit all over you, and you go, I'm not bikini
Yeah,
ready.
and
It's
so
like,
I was making
Couple
them
spider webs,
laugh.
guys,
I was
don't
just
worry.
trying to make
It was
them laugh.
working.
And
It's
so
working.
what they did was they built a makeshift shower.
Yes.
And so on Hollywood Boulevard,
been there.
on Hollywood,
you know the one.
I have a series of drug problems.
So you know
I've
the-
showered in worse places.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's the thing when you jump off the building. It's that yellow thing.
It would have
Suicide
been better,
pad?
it would have
The
been better if they
balloon?
made you get on the building and jump off the building into like a jacuzzi of water. Jump in and this is... Okay.
Which was like in all the Remember back in the day when they had like the All Star, it's the TV show people, and they did all the chat. What was
Power
it called?
of the Network Stars.
Yeah,
Battle of the Network Stars.
Exactly, it was always in one of those. Anyhow,
yes.
They built a shower like a half moon. And
did they shine like a bright light so your silhouette was for everyone that drove by?
She's a maniac.
You're all like, silhouette ladies here.
I knew my time would come in Hollywood.
Here I am, folks.
Finally. So the one of the guys, like the hottest guy, he stayed in it with me. Of course, I was so embarrassed, and my hair was I had shit everywhere. So he's just like, it's going to be really cold and it's going to be really hard. Like that, it's the pressure.
Good, bring it on. Yeah.
So as he was doing it, hurt. And I was like, I feel like I'm Meryl Streep in Silkwood. And he didn't know what it was. And he goes, what's that? I'm like, it's a really good movie with Cher. And it won an Academy Award, I think.
Sorry, I'm old.
I'd be like, that was a really good joke. Could you get somebody over here with a fucking brain in their head?
Yeah.
God. And then he's like, well,
anyone from NYU here?
Yeah.
Anybody over the age of 19? Anyway.
And then they threw me in the I was wrapped in like a burrito, and they put me in the back, and then I had to go identify him.
Meanwhile,
at the
where's your
hospital.
boyfriend at?
That was her boyfriend.
And they ended up married.
Yeah.
The end.
So they kept calling him on my phone, and we had just left each other, and I was about to go to his house.
Ass.
Oh my God, I love you. So he wouldn't pick up the phone because he was on the other line and was like, God, Heidi, like,
I hope you say your ex-boyfriend.
So
no,
he actually showed back up, but he didn't understand the
severity,
the word? Yeah,
the urgency
of what was happening. So he was
the shitverity.
walking, and the woman that pulled over was just she leaned over and she's like, "Is that your boyfriend walking? Like just like nothing's happening." She was so mad at him.
Where
She was
the
like,
fuck is he?
She was like, "Get the fuck over here! Do you understand what's happening to your girl?" And then he was like, "Oh my God!" Like he didn't know, but then he had to clean my car and stuff. So he really helped.
Billy,
if he would have been there, to begin
some of the diarrhea
fucking happened.
Billy, some of the diarrhea went under her driver's seat.
Oh,
so
well.
she had to get rid of the car.
You don't own the patent on that. I shit myself in Dodger traffic.
But your shit is different than a homeless guy's shit.
Well, not necessarily.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of roadkill inside me.
When you got to the hospital, they treated you like you were the psychopath.
They treated me like so they took me to the fucking worst hospital in Los Angeles because
is
they
that real
said,
scary one? That
yes,
big tall
on Western
one?
and Sunset. Yes.
That's a really scary one. That's
You
where they
could
take
hear
all the
people
like
screaming.
overdose.
Yes.
Overdose
People were, like,
well, they thought she was nuts. I
They
mean,
thought
she's
I
covered
was-
in shit.
It was
And
crazy.
so the fire department people, they bring her in.
They
They bring you in, and then
brought me in,
They go,
and-
someone fecal matter.
Well,
Again.
the thing is that they brought me in, and two of the guys stayed with me because they were just like they were explaining that the city needs help and that I should be the spokesperson, and
because stuff like that happens all the time.
The homeless stuff is out of control here now more than ever, as you know.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where things started to kind of pick up.
Oh
and
my
plus,
God.
it's very what's the word I'm looking for?
Sexy?
No,
Erotic?
it's oh my God, it's what's the word? There's a lot of money that's not being spent on mental healthcare and stuff, and the money.
So
it's because
are you a person that managed to parlay this into some sort of cash?
I wish I'm actually writing a story now about it. Like I want to write like an op-ed about it and just be like
Netflix movie.
I wish.
There's been worse shows on television. That's for sure.
I wish, but I just want to because not everywhere I go, but if I say, oh yeah, I was something, I was the girl with the button, everyone's like, you're that girl?
Yeah.
And I want to write
I
you're
remember
that.
watching the news in the morning and just going, that could not have happened. Like,
They were like,
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I would.
No,
I'd be cracked up.
The PTSD it's still there.
It's gotten
like
worse. Like,
you don't want to leave the house and stuff.
No, I do. I can, but it's got like in other ways.
Didn't you tell us for a while afterwards, like if you left your apartment and your car was parked like 3 or 4 blocks away, you would take an Uber to her car.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just to walk 4 blocks.
Well, that's even the older you get living in Los Angeles, I no longer drive a $100,000 Mercedes as annotated in my new book on Amazon. But when I did,
Tawdry Tales and Confessions
sorry,
from
I
Horror's
started
Boy
telling
Next
my
Door.
story.
this shit story was brought to you by Tawdry Tales and Confessions. No, but like being once I hit 50, I would literally run to my Mercedes because like I'm becoming a target for robbery. You know, old person running to his Mercedes.
That's
like,
a beacon. I mean, it's just
it's
a beacon.
LA, man. It's just like, you know, I'll tell you a funny story about homeless things. Is I am overly caring about like the raccoon story. Maybe we'll talk about before I leave. But like every year for my birthday, I used to do this really fun thing where I would have my friends. Most of my friends are working and they have expendable income. I would get them to give me backpacks, and I would load backpacks with frozen water and baby wipes and clean socks and soap and washcloth. And then I would go and, you know, it was back when, remember, like for a while, a couple of years ago, it'd be like 120 degrees in the valley. And you see people that are like purple that are homeless.
Yeah.
So I went on this
True.
mission.
I know what you mean exactly.
Yeah, they're so sunburned. They look orange.
Look like brisket.
Yeah. And so I would go, okay, well, I'm going to put these frozen bottles of water in my trunk. And when I go around, then if I see someone that looks thirsty, I'll give them to them. And that's going to be something that I do. Because I don't want to die being the guy who created the Ginger Dead Man. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do something beyond, you know, movies where people are getting butchered.
Ginger Dead Man and giving water to homeless people.
That's right. They're like, tonight, the guy who did Ginger Dead Man, who is also known for giving water to the homeless. Anyway, so, but the funny thing is 50% of the time, they would be crazy and would want to beat my ass and say, who the fuck do you think you are? They say, shove that backpack up your fat ass, or chasing me, or be afraid of the backpack thinking it was a bomb.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing it. I just was like,
It's so when I was probably 19, 20, I think, 21, 21, I was living with a friend of mine downtown, and she lived right kind of by Skid Row. And we would like make a pile of sandwiches to walk down and give.
Yeah.
Because she was very wealthy. So like she wanted to give back kind of in a same way. And we would make sandwiches. And we were so shocked every night that we did it at how many people wouldn't take it.
And get mad at you. They think you're poisoning them.
That was it. That's exactly it. I'm not eating that.
Who the fuck do you think you are? But I'll also say there was that 1/3 of the people that literally would look in that bag and start crying and be
yes,
my God, sunblock. You know, I would never think to buy it. Like sunblock and clean socks, you know. I mean, some of these people didn't even have shoes or socks on, you know. And
but that's a testament that, so then when this happened, I went on all these shows, including the show, and I was like, there has to be a mental health care facility. And a rehab
more
first,
important
and then
than
a mental
anything.
health. Yes,
yeah.
But not just where you go and you take your medicine once a week, like Nithya wanted. I can't. It's a long story about her, but it has to be where you stay there.
Well, you can't force them to go. That's the issue. Is that you can't force.
We have all these gigantic empty shopping malls, not even a mile away from here. Huge shopping malls that are boarded up, that they could easily turn into temporary housing. But nobody wants to do it.
But before they go in these places, they have to get treatment. Because then you have because I just talked to a woman who said that there's a lot of the hotels that are like older ones that are now going to have the homeless there. But they have to get help first. You can't have a guy in the throes of like a meth addiction next to a
not
woman
even
with kids.
not even drugs, just even mental problems.
That's it. So many of it it's all mental health driven.
Even though that's really horrible what happened to you, in some ways people are going to listen to you because the story's interesting, and no, it's a terrible story. And that really is a gift in a way that you're able to like raise your hand and say, listen, this is not the only time that's going to happen.
Right.
This could happen to your kids, your wife, blah, blah, blah. We need to like raise awareness for. So in some ways, it's the thing where you can raise your hand and say, you know, shit's got to change. Oh my God, that's the name of the foundation.
Shit's got to change.
That's the name of the
SGC. Whatever the fuck. Yeah.
SGC.
Yeah.
Shit's got to change.
The Shit's Gotta Change Foundation.
We're making patches and stickers tomorrow. I love it.
No, I can't even. It's
Okay,
really
I'm sorry.
horrible to make a joke about it because I know later on you're going to hit your forehead on the wall when you go home. And like, oh, God.
It's so funny. She has all this stuff happen to her, and she always talks about how lucky she is, and she means it. She goes, "I'm just so lucky." I'm like, "You
Well,
don't seem very
we're all-
lucky to me."
I was gonna.
She's here.
We're all lucky, believe me.
Yeah.
I've about over half of my friends are dead that are my age, so we're all very lucky to be sitting here.
Because also, like through the height of your career, 80s, 90s, as far as being an actor, like doing what you did, especially in horror, was kind of like being in Motley Crue or something. Like horror, like was the genre of the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
And you guys were superstars. So I imagine the partying was just
Unbelievable.
bonkers.
Unbelievable.
Was it happening on set and everything?
Yes.
Everything. Okay.
Really?
Yes. Well, let's see. For me, I was such a good boy when I moved here, and I had always been like really fat when I was younger. So I had never even been kissed. Like when I moved out here, I'd never been on a date. I'd never written a check. I never changed my own oil. I never did anything. I was very naive when I moved out. And then I started working out, and like underneath all that fat, I was actually good looking. And so I started getting invited to the party. You know, I started kissing, and I started, I never even barely drank. And I'd get invited out to clubs and stuff, and like get these cool roommates that had so much more life experience than I did. I was so naive that when cocaine came out, and I was like, well, I'm scared of it. I guess I'll try it. And I went like, no, I don't want to do it. I want to do it. Where do we get more? Like the minute I did it, I was like, this is
Billy
it,
likes this
honey.
shit.
Yeah. So, and again, it wasn't, and I'm not encouraging this. I know it's come back. And by the way, like people
Horrible.
are dying.
Fentanyl.
from it.
Fentanyl's
Yeah.
killing everybody.
I have been so off of drugs for over 25 years. I have to tell you, it is a huge no-no in my life. And for anyone that knows me, but back then, it wasn't really looked at as like this dangerous party drug. It was on set. If you filmed all night, that's what people did to stay awake. It was not like nobody was going off the rails, so to speak. They just were. That's what you did.
Need a little pep.
Except for I may or may not have gone off the rails a couple times, particularly on Friday the 13th.
Listen, you're just showing your peers what not to do.
Right. Well, I think my actions, yes, definitely. I would say, I'll tell you a quick story that's from my book. None of the actors on the Friday the 13th, I'm really truly meaning this. They were not partying with me. It was me and the crew. Like I am a crew person by, me and the grips and the blah, blah, blah. And there were tons of coke that was being FedExed into the Friday the 13th, Part 7 set on like every Friday. We would all be lining up at the production office looking for these FedEx packages because back then they didn't check it.
My God.
So somebody would mail you a magazine with a bunch of blow taped in it and you would get it. This is a long time ago.
What?
So if you're listening, you can't catch me now. It was a long time. So
Sorry to
we
blow
would
up
get
your
all this
spot,
blow.
FedEx.
So you can't get away with any of that shit.
No,
now.
no.
And certainly again,
But
it's
you can
very
try.
bad.
You can try.
Doing drugs is bad. Literally bad. You could really die from it now.
Yeah.
So
Easier now than ever.
so I was just getting to know everyone, and I had never been around pretty people or actors, or never been considered somebody that anyone wanted to be with my whole life, and I just couldn't believe it, and I really dove in head first. So we went to the bar. This was the first or second night we were filming in Point Clear, Alabama on Friday the 13th. Wow. And I'd never done cocaine, so I was like, oh, you could just keep doing it, like, let's go to the bathroom, and okay, I'll do some with you. And then I go sit down, and she gives me the high sign, and then we go do it. And I just keep doing it. Like, I did 3 grams of blow and 6 double Bloody Marys in about 3 hours. So
you're feeling pretty good.
yeah, well, as far as I can, they told me I was.
Oh, Tom, don't. How dare you, sir?
See, I'm getting excited. We start talking about blow. I'm getting excited.
Sweaty palms.
So all I can tell you is I was sitting in the bar talking to Lar Park Lincoln, who was the star of the movie, and I was just, talking at a very accelerated rate. And then the next thing I knew, I just was like, lights out, and I, boom, face planted in the bar. The next thing I know, I'm going in and out of consciousness. And Kenny Meredith, who is the boyfriend of the makeup artist, and Larry Cox, who played the yuppie guy.
What a prick he was.
They're carrying me. He wasn't really in real life.
No.
Carrying me through the lobby, and I'm vomiting a long trail of Bloody Mary through the lobby of the Point Clear, Alabama motel. They pull up a room service golf cart and throw me on it and I'm hanging off the back, in and out of conscious, probably close to death, I imagine. They drive me. It's a huge place. It's no longer there because it was wiped out by Katrina, but it was a huge. So they drive me all the way to wherever my hotel room was. Then they get me off the golf cart and they put me on a room service cart. So my head's hanging this way, my feet are hanging that way, just my body's there, and they're pulling
Just you and the chicken tenders.
Yeah, throwing up the whole way. And like, I remember them pushing me in the elevator and my head hanging upside down. And on the way up to my room, it opening up and this like German family standing there, like looking at me. And they're like, we'll get the next one. We'll get the next one. So I go up, they strip me naked. They throw me in the bathtub. They fill it full of ice and water. And I finally start kind of coming to. And they're like, all right, listen, put your pajamas on and we'll find out if you... I could have acted the next day. Like, I didn't even know. I was so young and stupid. They put me in my pajamas. They tuck me in bed. This is a true story. Yeah, I'm fine. I think I'm going to be okay. And I go, okay. So they leave the hotel room. And as the door latches, I get up and put my clothes back on and think I'm going to go back to the bar. They leave.
Attaboy.
I get on the golf cart and start driving the golf cart and lose my way. The security people see me. They're chasing me. And then it becomes like a low-speed pursuit because they're running after me and I'm golf carting.
It's like out of a comedy movie.
It's like Benny Hill.
Gagged out of my mind. Half throwing out, half like... And I drive along the pier and drive the golf cart into the bay.
I mean, come on.
So...
Buy the fucking book.
Right. And that's
Is that
nothing.
story in here?
Yes.
Oh
and it's
my
nothing
God.
compared to what's in there. So the next thing I know... this is a true story.
I'm happy you didn't drown.
How did I get back to my hotel room? So I woke up in bed and it was literally 24 hours later. It was dark again. And I was like, call the front desk. We had gotten there like on a Thursday. No, we gotten there on a Thursday, but I think I partied on like a Sunday night. And then so I called the front desk and I was like, what day is it?
Oh,
She's
man.
like, it's Tuesday evening. I'm like, it's Tuesday evening. I had slept for 24 hours, right?
You had a time warp.
So somehow, by some
Wow.
miracle, I wasn't scheduled to act that day. So I went back to sleep and I slept till the next morning. And the next morning, which was Wednesday morning, my phone rang. And I picked it up and I go, hello? I hear this voice, hello? Hi, who's this? This is your agent?
Oh.
Oh, hi, how are you? I'm not too good, actually. Oh, really? Why's that?
What a great question.
I just wrote a $2,000 check to repair a golf cart that you drove into the ocean. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, that did happen.
Those were other boys.
I just want to let you know. I'm going to let you know that if anything like this happens another day, you no longer have an agent. And just so you know, the production is, they're not looking forward to seeing you. And I was like,
Oh, man.
have a good day. But I have to tell you.
So you hadn't filmed yet, right? You had just gotten there?
I just gotten there.
Oh,
no,
for
I
fuck's sake.
filmed in L.A. I filmed in
Okay,
The
got you.
inside of the cabin,
Yeah.
that was in L.A.
Right.
The outside was. So, and I got to tell you, those people were so cool. This is how cool that. Say one.
No one pulled you aside and said,
Not
just
one.
pull together?
Not one single word.
Wow.
Nobody said anything, and I was like, "Hey." I think some of the grips were like, "Hey, did you have a good time the other night?" Like that was about it. Like it was like so weird and like.
Did you learn from that moment? Did it sit with you as like, I can't do that again?
Yeah, I cut my blowback down just to like 1 gram every hour.
Hey, good job.
No, but yeah, because again, I had never been invited to the party, so that was my first outing of like, oh, here's what you don't do. I mean, I don't know if you ever had a wild period, but think about that probably started when you were 16 years old. I was like,
I've never even been drunk before.
Oh, that's really good. Boy, I really feel like a pig now.
No. I grew up around it. I grew up with everyone like you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's all. I grew up with it.
I think it was like 23 when it's, but
You start getting wild.
That's because the Jehovah's Witness.
Oh
thing, so.
yeah, see, I bet you hit it hard too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the same with me. It's like I had never been allowed to do anything, and then I was like suddenly like kind of cute and drinking and like, oh okay, here let's do this, right? And it was pretty fun, I gotta say. But anyway,
and you were not you weren't openly gay back then. You weren't out then, were you?
No, because back then you just have no career at all.
It really would have just been over with.
Yeah, I still think it's probably partially that way, unless you want to play maitre d's, and I mean, I think it's that.
Did you confide in people? Like, did fellow actors know?
Only after I fuck them. No, I'm kidding.
Of course, that's always a dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
You're probably wondering what my situation is. But no, to be honest with you, even with my closest friends, I was very quiet. I was kind of fucked up in that department.
Like unsure if you were, or what do you mean?
I had a pretty bad childhood, and so on the subject of sex was not one that I was completely comfortable with, and so I didn't really know. I knew, but I didn't really act on it, is what I'm trying to say. So then when I started working, seriously, I'm not kidding, that like if you were a gay person, you were playing gay elevator operators and hairdressers, and there was no in between.
You were just playing your
Yeah,
cliches.
just mind my own business. And frankly, I still do. Like, I'm cool, whatever, man.
Right.
You know, I don't really, I'm from a very conservative town. I don't really make anyone feel uncomfortable. I'm not really like the person that's shaking his fist, like, yeah, for any subject. So
Cool.
I think that's why I sleep with so many straight people. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know I have a lot of gay friends who actually do love that challenge of trying.
It's not a challenge. You just have to give them a couple of Jaegers.
Darren, you're up. Darren loves Jaeger. I'm just kidding.
Darren. I'm kidding. Go get a shave. Let's do this. No,
He's black, but he's blushing. I promise.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Okay, so seriously,
You're
people.
like the only interviewer that ever asked me about that subject.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really care, but well,
It's fascinating
because
because I know
you're not
that-
like
didn't
detail
know.
oriented. Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I've been known to mix it up.
I also know that like horror fans, a lot of gay people are also drawn to horror for the escapism of it, and they find heroes in gay movies or not in gay movies, heroes in horror films. And I was just curious if that ever was the case for you, where anyone ever came to you and appreciated what I don't know. When did you come out?
It just kind of gradually happened. It wasn't really anything where I'm.
It wasn't like a big announcement.
Hello, everyone, gather around. Yeah, like,
Oprah.
there's something that everyone needs to know.
Right.
No,
I'm just curious. I'm always
kind of
curious
a
about.
whore. I'm kind of a whore, so it's not like it's really a secret. It's like, it's like, oh, did you sleep with him? Yeah, so did I.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious if that was a.
I think you guys, honestly, I was so fucked up, and I didn't even had never even fallen in love. I don't think until I was like 34 years old. Wow. And so when that first happened, then it became the person I was hanging out with. It was too apparent that I couldn't at least talk to my parents about it or whatever, because it's like they're like, duh, I'm living with someone.
Right.
It's a Ford model.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh my God. I got good taste. But anyway.
Is this all in the book?
Yes.
Oh my God.
See?
Yeah.
You just thought I was
really
Tawdry Tales guy.
The reviews and if you're on the fence about getting this book, go to Amazon, look at the reviews. I mean, they really honestly they're glowing.
I'll tell you why.
And you don't have to be a horror fanatic to like this book. It's a good human story. It's just it's stories and
I'll
stories
tell you
and
why.
stories.
It's just like with your show, and the reason why your show works. Raw, ugly truth.
That's it.
If you'll sit here and say, this is what happened to me, people are going to love you because they listen, and you're not the only one that weird things like that have happened to, and they do relate to it. That's the same thing with my book. Right. I've gone from sleeping in my car to be a multimillionaire to going back down to zero again and building myself up. Yep. I've been pretty, I've been skinny, I've been fat, I've been ugly, I've been drugged, I've been sober. Just raw truth is what people, there's not one part of my book where people don't go, that happened to me too. Especially the becoming really rich and losing everything. Everyone's like, that's happened to me 3 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. The key is to don't bullshit people. Don't bullshit yourself.
Right.
and put it all out there, because then people don't have ammunition to use against you.
Well,
I've always
there's
thought,
nothing left now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Like my superpower has always been, I'm gonna make fun of myself and my mom before you do.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
And the other thing is we work in a business where there are people that are unjustly sort of mean to you or give you a bad time or whatever. Like, I defy you to read that book and not go, oh, okay, he's all right. Like, there's no way. I'm deeply flawed, and I'm the first to like say it. So
right, but the flaws are what make everybody interesting.
Yeah.
I've always thought that my whole life. Like, the things that make someone fucked up, that's what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about how good you are at school or how good you are at sports. Like, I want to know the stuff that you're bad at. I want to know the stuff that makes you scared and, that kind of stuff.
One of my execs, who's literally on the first page of the second page, third page of the book, basically tells me that my $2 million a year job just ended. He said something to me very interesting, how when I started building my way up in the commercial directing world, how I started having all this guilt for all this money I was making, because I was just making it up. And I finally, one day we were drinking and I was like, dude, I'm just making this up. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm making it up. And then he leans over to me and goes, we're all making it up.
It's all bullshit.
I'm like, what? He's like, I'm making it up too. I'm like, oh my God. And from the
what a relief.
From that moment on, I'm never scared about anything, because I think everybody's faking it. Like, we all go home and go like, or it's like a nice feeling when you fit in with the group.
Yes.
Right.
I think what's hurtful to me is, this is a little whiny, a little low budget director whiny thing. The one thing I really hate, and it really bothers me, is when people who do review programs on YouTube rip not just myself, but other low budget filmmakers. It really bothers me, because it's an absolute miracle that most of this shit cuts together. It's sometimes impossible to make it cut together. And that everybody involved, you can't do a movie for a couple $100,000 unless you completely love it with all your heart.
Yes.
And by proxy of it only being a couple $100,000, and in some cases lower, it can't help but to have elements in it that are janky. But you still get to you're doing it, you're all rolling up your sleeves. And then some fatty who's living in his fucking basement of his mother's home, wait, that's where we are now, decides to go on there and say that everyone's a piece of shit. I just hate it. It doesn't happen very often to me, but overall in general, it's also in my book, I can't tell you the amount of directors. I talk about that, just saying how it hurts you deeply. Like when you just go, well, we filmed it in 5 days. Like, of course it's fucking fast, I
would love for you to give $300,000 to that person making the review and say, here, do it better.
Does that sound whiny? I don't know.
No.
And do you guys know very many people that can make a brilliant movie for that? I mean, I would really like to
It's
know.
very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
I was just looking at something the other day about the most what's the word? Like low budget films that made the most money, like
Blair Witch,
Paranormal
I guess.
Activity cost
Yeah.
it was like $16,000 or $9,000 and it made 200 million.
Yeah,
so
but
it's possible.
$60,000 to make with about $100,000 worth of post production.
Right.
But they never say that. And Robert
Of
Rodriguez'
course.
like first movie where he did it also was like
Right.
he made it for $8,000. It's like plus $200,000 worth of like
Advertising and all that stuff that
all
goes
that
into
stuff.
it.
I'm really not bitter, but it really does. I wish it didn't it hurts my feelings. I'm not even saying it really shakes me to my core when some stranger that doesn't know anything about the process. There's a guy in particular, I can't remember the name of his thing, or I would tell you. He's funny, and part of his shtick is that he's bitching about how bad it is, and so he's really able to disassociate himself that it's actual people that are making these projects, and it's funny. And I guess maybe I sound whiny or bitter, but it really does fucking shake me up. If it's really bad, I write them a note and say, well, if you're trying to make me feel like garbage, you did a very good job, and like. For the record, I watched your show. I like your show.
Well, you're being criticized by someone who has never accomplished anything.
Yeah.
Like,
but is that like
if Ridley Scott wants to criticize your film, I'm sure you'll take it. It's like, okay, that could be.
But what do you think about
Or
that?
do
you think it's like
your
suck
passion,
it up?
though. It's your heart.
Right.
It's your, you know what I
But
mean?
do you guys
like,
think it's like a suck it up
For you.
buttercup situation? Like you just go, quit whining. Who
Depends on
cares?
what is said, I guess, and I guess it depends on how, if the person is trying to be hurtful or just giving their opinion, because you can't fault someone if you do something, someone thinks it sucks.
Yeah.
that's not your problem.
Like
It's not for them.
There's one guy in particular who is very high profile now, who, when I directed Madhouse, which is $1 million movie, which turned out, in my opinion, very good. And in his opinion, I should have like hung myself and like never do another project ever again. Well,
Oh my God.
that person is no longer a movie reviewer. He's now he's on the team. I don't know what his position is. I want to say producer, but I don't think he's a producer. I think he helps create these things. And he's responsible for creating some of the biggest financial flops in movie history. It is so fucking tempting. It is so tempting for me to like write him and go, hey, guess the noose is on the other neck.
Feel free to use our platform if you want to.
Oh, not me. I'll tell you off camera.
Please,
You
yeah.
probably know the person.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's garbage. But anyway.
Wow.
We love talking shit.
Yeah.
We really
I
do love
can't.
talking shit.
It'll be like World War.
Got you.
But anyway, sorry for eating.
Oh,
I'm sorry for bitching and whining.
don't put no.
Bitching and whining.
But
You haven't listened to the show, but we do this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We talk about anything. If that's how you're feeling, I want to hear about it.
I wish that it didn't bug me, but it really does.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah,
when
it just-
when you just
I'm
want it
kind
to
of
roll off your back.
I'm
but
kind
it's
of
like,
a cunt in real person. Like I'm pretty. You can come at me.
I can confirm.
Yeah, I can.
You're hard to be around.
Yeah. Well, you almost on the end of my whip the other day.
I was.
You're like, quit clowning around, and when are you going to be on the show? And I was like trying to fly home from London. I was like,
Oh, that really upset you?
your show's literally the last show I'm going to do.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored.
Because I've done so many of these, and people that are rolling their eyes going, who's William Butler? Think about how bad I have it. I have to be the one who's talking about myself.
No, you've been wonderful.
I'm
I'm
so
so
tired.
happy to finally have you on this.
Yeah.
It's been coming for months and months.
Yes, that is very
I'm
true.
really happy that our friend Michael put us together. And
Yes. Now, again, how do you know him?
I met him through another friend, and he's just this guy Michael Johnson, who I've touched on a little bit here, has just an incredible life story, and he's truly, you'll attest, one of the most lovable, likable
He
people
is.
you
Now, does
could
he-
ever meet.
Does he own that hotel yet? Where he?
We can't talk about
talk
that.
about
We
that?
can't talk about that.
Such a good
He will
story.
soon. He will own it soon, probably.
Really? Yeah.
Probably.
You don't know about it?
I'll tell you after. We'll tell you off
I have
camera.
no friends. It's fine.
But yeah, so he put us together, and hopefully we'll do this again or do something else fun because I'm enjoying this very
You
much.
sure we can't talk about the hotel story? No, I'm kidding.
No, we can't
I'm
because it
excited
might fuck it up.
I wanna. There's no pressure, but I wanna like hang out with you and
Yeah.
like,
You
talk
guys
about
seem like you
stuff.
guys really
Oh
hit it
my
off.
God.
We're out of our minds.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're a Gemini and I'm a Leo. We get along really well.
Yeah, I have friends that are Leos.
You have an open door to come back here anytime you want to promote
Cool.
whatever you want.
Yes.
In the meantime, please, seriously, get this book, Tawdry Tales and Confessions of Horror's Boy Next Door by William Butler, Billy to his friends.
Yes, thank you.
And please go to Amazon Prime. You have 2 shows that are currently on there.
That's right.
Baby Oopsie
Baby
and
Oopsie's
Resonator.
Yes, Resonator, Miskatonic U is on there. It's very good. It's one of my favorite projects about these people that create this device that allows you to look into other dimensions. It's a spin-off from an old movie called From Beyond. Mm-hmm. And the other one is a black comedy about a woman. Did I already say that?
Yeah, we talked
woman-
about it.
Yeah.
Are you into UFOs at all, by the way?
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Why did they quit talking about them now?
So Jeremy Corbell is a good friend of mine, the guy that releases all that UFO stuff.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned this device that helps you look into the future.
Yeah.
So do you know about the looking glass and all that stuff?
No.
The UFO looking glass stuff?
No. I gotta
We'll save it for another episode.
I gotta
Big
rip that
UFO
off of
guy.
my show.
Please.
I'm kidding.
Also, I meant to say this. The name of the guy that attacked her with the shit bucket, you have to work his name into something.
What is it?
His name is, can I say it? Can I say it?
Jer, yeah, go
I
ahead.
love it. It's my favorite. Jer Blessings. How weird is that?
It's an ironic name.
Jer Blessings.
But wait, I hate to go back. Whatever happened to him?
So he was arrested.
It was Darren, actually. It was Darren.
Oh, and here he is today. This is as part of his work program.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he just runs over here, puts shit on my head.
Fully
I was like,
rehabilitated.
oh my God! Buy my book.
It's like slime. He was arrested, but then he was set free because he wasn't fit to stand trial.
0 punishment.
So they let him go, but he's schizophrenic
I
and
think
bipolar.
I'm seeing like Valerie Bertinelli playing you in a TV movie.
Wait, did she
She's
just
too
pass?
old. No, just her career. It was
Not
just her
Val-
career.
No, not Valerie.
You-
No. She's awesome. She just did a pilot with a really good friend of mine.
She's
It's
the
about
one-
Overeaters Anonymous.
Yeah, she's
It's
the one who
amazing.
spelled it out.
I love her.
People were being mean to her on Instagram saying, you got fat. Did you see
her
that video
Instagram?
where she's
I
like,
love her.
same thing about what I was just saying. About people being mean. She just went on there and just goes, wow. All right. Well, you tried to hurt my feelings, and here I am.
Yeah, she was crying. Did you see that?
No.
It kills you. But then, of course, all these millions of people were just like, fuck that person. I think even the person said, I'm sorry.
I
That's
love
one of the.
her. I adore her.
That's one of the great powers of social media. If you have a following and someone fucks with you, you can just turn your fans on them and let them do all the dirty work.
Yeah.
Be like, go get them, boys, or whatever it is.
I was thinking of the red-haired from. She was the
Carrot Top.
No,
Can
the
play it.
red-haired Valerie.
Valerie Perrine? Valerie.
The one that just passed away a few months ago.
Oh.
Eddie Van Halen.
No.
Oh, shit.
Anyhow,
Anyway, I'm
go
sorry
on,
that
go
happened
on.
to
Sorry.
you.
Thank you.
It's a great-
I'm in a way, I'm not, because had that not happened, she wouldn't be in our
That's
lives,
true.
and she is one of my favorite people.
Oh,
For real. Yep.
I can
Yep.
see that.
You're
I
one
could
of
see that.
mine.
And also, like I said, it's a weird moment to like talk about mental health in Los Angeles, which is crazy.
Not even just LA, in the world, mental health is just it's the most pressing issue in the world right now that is just not getting better.
I was just in the UK for about a month, and they don't have that. Like you see one nut job out of every 5,000 people wandering
Because there's
around.
a place for them
Because
to
they
go.
have places for them
There's
to
a place
go.
for them
Yeah.
to go, and they not lock them up,
Strip
but
clubs.
you're in.
Yeah, it's like
you're in a
mental
room.
hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strip club.
Well,
They send them to the strip club.
at least we're ending on a high note.
No, they have them strip. I'm kidding.
There you go, perfect. Put them to work. It's a
I
work
don't
release.
really know what
it's
you're
work
doing.
release.
You know, whatever.
Well, Billy, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Had a blast. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did actually. I again, I hate, believe it or not, I hate talking about myself, but you guys are fucking hilarious. And
Thank you.
us talking about nothing was actually also very fun for me.
That is what the show is based on.
Yeah, I don't even
We're the
like
Curb Your
Seinfeld.
Enthusiasm of
We're the Seinfeld
podcasts.
of-
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a podcast about nothing.
But our listeners, I'm sure they enjoyed it. Get the book, support this man, and if you get Amazon Prime, go watch his shows,
I'm gonna read this.
and hopefully you'll be
tonight.
back sometime soon. But Billy, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll come back anytime.
And everybody else,
Thank you guys.
Thank you, and you can follow him at the William Butler.
Yep,
on
Instagram.
Instagram. You accept everybody on Facebook.
Yes, and then there's one that's full. That's mostly my family. 5,000 family members. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's half fans. But then there's another one that's William Butler. That's the one where you get all the like stuff that fans would care about.
The fun stuff.
The rest of it's just mostly bitching about my family.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Which is what Facebook is for.
Yeah, right,
It is
right.
for it.
Pictures-
and
pictures
you're
of what I
you're on
ate.
Twitter as well.
I'm
You're on all the things.
barely on Twitter. Yeah, I wouldn't.
But people can follow you anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone else. You can follow us at Rare Form Radio, at Dean Ellie Radio over there, Dan Cleary 79, at Heidi Sabrina, and we will be back next week.
Thank you.
This is Lola, and I'm here to tell the world to stop being such pussies and listen to Rare Form Radio.